This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
You are listening to the Flagship Podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
This show is so good that I would rather listen to my own show that I recorded an hour ago in full than listen to that. These people don't know what they're talking about. And they're paid professionals.
And Rich Frage.
Then you listen to other wrestling podcasts and they'll stink. Except for the ones on the Voice Wrestling Podcast Network. All those are good, but every other one stinks. And we are live here on the Flagship Podcast. I'm Rich. He's Joe. Joe, what's happening?
So, I decided to shake up the run sheet. We were doing this live show on Wednesday night.
Yep. Let's do it.
You have promised to talk about the Dynamite Mystery Man, and I am putting the kibosh on that. There will be no Dynamite Mystery Man talk in this live edition of the Flagship. I don't have much in this life, okay? I've got some hardwood floors, some nice leather furniture, a late model car, 3-bedroom house.
Real hardwood? Real hardwood or faux hardwood?
We've had this discussion. A pretty decent NFL football team that's playing in the Super Bowl on Sunday. Other than that, I don't have much. I like to watch my Dynamites unspoiled. Is it too much for a man to ask? So, we're not doing that on this show. So, that's not going to happen. You'll get my full breakdown of whoever this mystery man is, on what Tony Khan has promised the live crowd is going to be one of the greatest Dynamites of all time, but I think he says that every week. On Thursday, TV reviews on the $5 tier, patreon.com/voices of wrestling, like I do every Thursday. So you'll hear all about it in a few hours. But I'm not even in the No Dopes chat room this week because you just know that Sean Sedor is going to come in there like a bull in a china shop and just spoil everything.
He will. Or he'll ask first and then just spoil it anyway. Hey, is it okay? And then immediately get right into it. So
no, what he'll say is, and I don't know who the mystery man is, so let me just pick someone who's way out there. He'll come into the chat room and he'd be like, so apparently the mystery man is Ashante the Adonis.
Right.
And then
apparently Tatsumi Fujinami appeared on Dynamite. So
right. That's what he'll say. And it'll ruin my experience. So I'm not even in the chat room. And whenever we go live on Wednesdays head to head with Dynamite, there's like nobody in the chat room.
No, it's a ghost town today. And Tony really, I mean, TK always does this to us too. And you know, you could look at the timeline and say that maybe he said that he was having a big announcement and then we decided we were going to do a Wednesday flagship due to some issues going on. I don't see it that way. I see that we said we were going on Wednesday and all of a sudden we ramped up here with this special surprise, this new debut, all that sort of stuff. The best Dynamite ever, all this stuff being said to the people. So like, okay, buddy, you won this one. You know, you can win one every so often, but you know, there's been weeks. There has been weeks where we have, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe our viewers have defeated Dynamite a few times over the course. Don't look back at the numbers. Just trust my judgment here. I think we have beat them a few times. So you know, we'll let them have this week because we're getting killed this week. We're getting killed this week.
He counter programs.
Yeah, he does. He does.
I don't know what his problem is. But you know, listen. This whole opening segment is going to sound very dated to every single person who listens to the streaming version or the on-demand version of the show. I understand that.
That's their fault. Yeah.
Listen, get on the $10 tier and listen live, and you won't have that problem. The live listeners are enjoying this segment because it's not dated at all. It's 7:35 in the PM in the Central Time Zone on Wednesday. We're 35 minutes into Dynamite as I speak right now, and I'm not interested in the spoilers. As I said, I don't have a ton in this world. Okay, I have a few things that I enjoy. I had a beautiful wife with tremendous breast implants and a nice home, late model vehicles.
When you say that you don't have much. You described a lot of things that are pretty. I mean, your team is in the Super Bowl, the big, in fact, the big game, which we'll get to in a little bit here.
Yes.
You mentioned your wife with the beautiful breasts. That's not bad. Like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Hardwood floors. You didn't answer if they're faux hardwood or real hardwood. You said we talked about it before. I don't recall, but either way, that's fine.
Do I seem like a man that would have fake hardwood floors? I mean,
no. I mean, I have both, so I guess that I'm.
It depends. I'm a classy guy. It depends what room you're talking about. But yeah, But the point here is these aren't like extravagant. I mean,
you have a lot of
enjoy all
TVs.
of
You have a
life.
lot of TVs and the NFL package. I mean, that's.
I have 10 TVs in the house, but 4 are in one room, to be fair.
Yes,
So that's only
yes.
6 TVs in the rest of the rooms. It's not like
And here's the thing
strewn
too. TVs are stupid cheap. We've talked about this before. I have
They
bought in the
I don't
last.
know why people think that's some kind of
I know, yeah, because
I don't know why people think that's some kind of extreme luxury. You can get a great TV for like $400.
you can get a good like the TV that I have now in this room that I never had a TV. I have a TV in this room, but it's behind me, Joe. This is how pathetic. This room that I'm in right now has 2 computer monitors right here. One is the size of a normal TV. Actually, both of these are the size of a normal TV. So I have 2 technical TVs here. It's not. Then I have a TV behind me, but I can't see that TV while I'm doing the show. That's behind me, Joe. So what I did is I bought a bookshelf and put a TV on that. So I'm in a room with 4 TVs alone in this room.
See, you've come around on being a TV guy.
Yeah,
They're
and
cheap. Just go buy a bunch of TVs.
And I'm
tremendous.
definitely considering a kitchen TV because what's happened recently is I'm subscribed to like Best Buy and all these different electronic stores on email or whatever. And sometimes I'll get an email and I'll click and like usually I'll just click and kind of scroll real quick. Well, they're like, all right, 32-inch smart TV for $79, and I'm like, well, I mean, $79. Like I have meals like on a weekly basis that cost more than $79. You know what I mean? Between the wife and I, like.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy a smart TV to do that. So I have a smart TV in the garage where I work out sometimes, and sometimes when I'm doing stuff in the garage, like a man, Joe, when I'm with my tools in the garage, working on the car, wiping the oil off my hands with the rag or whatever, I like to have the TV going. So I have the TV going on there. I have brought the TV out to my deck before. I've just decided I'm gonna sit on my deck and watch TV, so that TV can be moved there. TV here, TV in the living room, TV in the bedroom. It's just bathrooms are really the only thing that are the last rooms in this house. Devoid of a TV, and I can't lie, I'm considering it. They're just so cheap. Why not?
That's what I'm talking
TV
about.
guy. I'm a TV guy.
You're a
now.
TV guy now.
But weirdly, I thought I would only be a TV guy with like extravagant, like nice TVs. But I've now realized, like I could just buy like 4 or 5 crappy TVs too, and they're not crappy. It's one I have here. Insignia 32-inch, like it's fine. I got it for $79.
That's all you need for that room. Listen,
yeah,
you only need expensive TVs for like the 2 important rooms.
Correct.
Like, you buy the cheap TVs for the kids' rooms, for the garage, or what you do is it's like a trickle effect, right? You buy a new TV for the living room or for the den. Well, then you take the TV that was in the living room or the den, and now that goes in a bedroom. And then the one that was in that bedroom now goes to a garage or the kitchen. You see, they trickle down the TVs. And then so that's how it eventually moves. So you don't have an extravagant state-of-the-art television in every room. So and they're not super expensive anymore. So yeah, I'm glad to hear you're a TV in the kitchen guy. That's a game changer. The TV in the kitchen.
Yeah. So the reason I think I'm there now is I bought a one of those Google whatever the hell is, I forget, whatever the Google smart speaker thing is or whatever. But I got the one with the screen.
Right.
And it plays streaming stuff. It will, you can link it, cast YouTube on it. You can sometimes you can cast TV on it. And I'm like, all right, this is cool because it's, it's 10 inches. It's fine. But like, I'm thinking, I think it's TV time, man. I think we're ready for the TV here. Like I'm getting addicted to watching stuff while I'm cooking. I'm getting addicted to doing that. I'm thinking, yes. I need this. Audio is not enough for me. I need audio and visual, Joe.
Doing dishes, cooking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The other day, I had a lot of dishes to do, and I was like, you know what? Don't care anymore. Dishes are fun now because I put that little thing on there, and I was ready to go. Yeah, it was great.
And with the kids, forget it, because now they'll sit in the kitchen and eat quietly because they've had their dopey YouTube.
Oh man.
So it's just it's a total game changer. Total game changer. And you get these these Fire Sticks and the gimmicks you're talking about, they're like $30-$40. You don't have to have like the cable.
Oh yeah. I just got these smart TVs, and I could play my cable. I'm watching my cable now because Xfinity have a streaming app or whatever. Yeah. I'm there. We're there. We're in.
Yeah. So
TVs. No, great. Voiceswrestling.com/Amazon if you're going to buy a new TV. So.
Yeah, and voiceswrestling.com/Patreon if you want us to be able to buy more TVs.
Buy more TVs.
I mean, my furniture finally came in my den. I don't leave that fucking room. It's just, it's a palace. Yeah, I got finally get the comfortable couch in there. I got the 4 TVs going whenever there's sports on.
You got a fridge in there yet or what?
Yeah, I got a mini fridge.
Oh, perfect.
I got the mini fridge stocked with the Coke Z's. It's just, I mean, it's just phenomenal. I mean, but listen.
Okay. A surprise, No Dopes chat room. This is where, please, for Joe. Oh, you're not in the No Dopes, right?
I'm
you're
not
gone.
in there.
You're gone.
Like I said,
all right, you're good. I was just going to say.
They can talk about whatever they want in the chat room.
But, okay, they can talk. If they're worried, you can talk in the chat room. I am here. I have watched Dynamite. I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to respond or whatever, but you can, if you want to. Joe, you are away from the No Dopes, right?
I am not logging in to the No Dopes chat room.
So if you feel the need that you are so inclined to in the No Dopes chat room, you may. You may talk about it.
Maybe be mindful of other listeners.
Right. Yeah.
But that you can't trust that Cedar.
He just said no. To be fair, Sean Cedar, and it's his birthday, by the way. So be very nice to Sean Cedar. He says, "Thanks for the gift of the flagship on my birthday. You're very welcome, Sean." Yeah. Sean then followed up by saying, "Remember, no Dynamite spoilers. He's the cop here. He's playing cop here. I like it."
I'm all right. Maybe I'm killing him for no reason.
Yeah, loose lips sink ships is what Sean says. He's absolutely right. There you go.
That's true. I will tell him happy birthday tomorrow. That's very inside, but I'm not going to even go in the chat room because you can't trust these people. You
got to stay away. Yeah, just in case. But it's happened, and I think we're probably past it. But Tatsumi Fujinami did debut for All Elite Wrestling, and wow, it is
Fujinami, yeah.
Fujinami, yeah, it's incredible.
And he faced the bouncer.
Yeah.
Very inside as well. You can hear all about that on Jovember to Remember. On patreon.com.
What was the effort level of Fujinami on that? I don't remember if you talked about it.
There's no tape.
Yeah.
Hey, if someone has tape of that, I'd love to see it.
That had to be like the lowest effort, right? There's no way.
All you need to know is the still photos that exist. He's wearing dress pants and a button-up.
Incredible.
He just wanted to get photos for the Japanese magazines.
Sure.
So, he wasn't even. It's listed as a match, but I'm sure it was one of those things that's more.
A guy comes out, he maybe beats him down or real quick or something like that. So
yeah. But again, if you want the full story, Jovember to Remember.
There it is.
Patreon.com says he is like episode 1 or 2 or something like that. But which you can catch up on quickly because I don't exactly pump those out with lightning fast speeds. But what are we on, like 19 though or something?
Yeah, they're coming. They're going. Your plan of getting all of ECW, I mean, that's going to be a while. I don't. The rate you're going, you might pass away, and someone's going to have to like carry the torch for like the last year of ECW.
No. I've got some stuff recorded already.
Okay.
Like, it's kind of like I'm trying to build up a cat. I'm trying to get it to where I have a bunch of them in the can.
Sure.
And then I'll just post them up every.
That's the best way to do it. Yeah, because right now the pace you're on, it's like. You're going to pass away, and I'm going to be like, all right, in Joe's stead, I'm going to finish 2001 ECW.
Let's take a look at this.
It's me and Alan. Alan has to do it. It's me and Alan. We're just grizzled old people. Alan's got 12 kids or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
what'd you think of this ECW on TNN from January 99?
Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Alan, can you believe it? It's all ending here,
Yeah, but no, do what you must in the chat. Listen. When we record on Wednesdays or when we go live on Wednesdays, I like to end this. Everyone's asleep by the time we're done. I like to go downstairs, make myself something to eat, sit in front of one of my 10 TVs, and just watch the Dynamite in the peace and quiet of everyone being asleep, take my notes for the Thursday TV reviews. And if I know the spoilers, it's going to ruin the experience for me, and it's going to affect my review. Because, I like to be in the moment when I'm watching the show, so Yeah, so that's why. So scratch that from the run sheet. We're not doing that.
Okay.
I knew we weren't doing it all day, but
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. A lot of people were not quite sure what we were going to do here, but
well, I was okay if I was okay with people thinking we were going to do it.
Sure,
that might draw a buy or two, So I wasn't going to blow up the spot at 3:00 in the afternoon, but But yeah, so other than that, though, there's nothing to talk about.
No,
so
this is a very, very interesting week. This is a throwback to the classic flagships. If people do not remember before, the other surprise is here. It is Stan Lane. Wow, wow.
Oh, listen,
Stan Lane and Tatsumi Fujinami. Wow, what pickups! Two legends in the sport. Wow. Bravo.
I'd be okay with that. Stan Lane's plausible. I could see him coming out with that
right? Yeah, that's Fujinami. That obviously I'm joking about that. You don't know. I could be completely truthful about. Apparently, Wallace Stanfield Lane. I didn't know that was.
I guarantee you, Stan Lane is still in top peak physical condition.
Oh yeah, I saw a picture of him recently. He looks fantastic. He looks still pretty damn good.
And I'm sure he's slaying puss all over whatever state he lives in. I'm sure that's the case. For Sweet Stan. There's no doubt about it. But
remember when he joined WWF? They had him get that dumb haircut and his stupid little earrings.
Oh, when he was doing commentary?
Yeah, it was so
well, okay, another plug for Jovember. That ruined an ECW run.
Yes,
Maybe
yeah.
Maybe you know it now because you listened to Jovember. So there you go. Details on Jovember to Remember number, whatever fucking number that was.
15. Let's go with that. So.
Let's go with 15.
I don't know if it's 15. But, there you go. Yeah, so there's not much to talk about. This is a weird week. And we used to have these weeks all the time back in the early days of the show, 7-8 years ago. Before AEW existed, before WWE lost their goddamn mind, it used to be weeks where we're like, I don't know, we'll just talk about whatever. You know what I mean? That's basically when we started Joe and Rich recommend matches to each other. It was like, there's not enough to talk about this week, so let's just watch old classic matches and talk about them or whatever. So we haven't had one of these in years because there's always been something going on. Someone's getting fired. Someone's doing this. Someone's doing that. AEW's got a surprise. Or if we were doing the show tomorrow, we'd probably talk for 2 hours about these surprises, Stan Lane and Tatsumi Fujinami, and then the rest would fill out the rest with all this other crap. It'd be fine. But no, we're recording this on a Wednesday. We're recording this before Dynamite or as Dynamite's going on. So then we're just screwed with what we're going to talk about. WWE wasn't weird this week. They didn't fire anybody this week, so there's nothing to talk about there. So we're just going to do a bunch of random shit, and it's going to be fun because I used to like these shows where we do these quick hitter topics about a bunch of different things. And, we're going to do retro at the end. There's some retro content we want to do. But Joe, I do have one question for you. It's not a bounce around Japan, something like that. Okay. I wanted to ask, where were you 22 years ago? Where was Joe Lanza 22 years ago?
22 years ago, I was preparing for another Rams Super Bowl 34, getting ready for Rams Titans.
Oh, you Rams fans bitching and moaning here. Look at this.
In New Jersey, what do you mean, bitch? I don't bitch and moan.
No, you're fine. Yeah. You've had a very good run. Yes.
Hold on a second. Do I do that?
No, I think you just say sports are stupid and you hate them and you hate Tom Brady. But
well, sports are pain.
They are.
22 years ago, I was preparing for a Rams Super Bowl win, and it's been 22 years since we won one. But this is the third one we've been to, so I can't. I mean, imagine being a Lions fan or a Browns fan or something, or a Vikings fan. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to keep these things in perspective. But and we had some really horrible years in between, the March years and the McVay years. You have to give me that. I mean, there were some brutal years.
Oh, there were some brutal, yeah. Some of those Fisher years or whatever were
one win seasons, 2 win seasons.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
So
those are pretty brutal. There was the string of 7 and 9 seasons were pretty
the Fisher years.
Yeah, those those were just like the weird. Like, you're just like, oh god, we're just kind of.
Well, I gotta tell you, I was happy just to be on the playoff chart in those years, like in the hunt column.
Yeah,
Like I was just happy for that because during the Steve Spagnuolo and Scott Linehan, like during those years, we would win 2 games a year, and we wouldn't even sniff the in the hunt chart. So Fisher at least got us into the in the hunt.
True.
column.
Put some respectability back in the Rams' names.
Yeah, we wouldn't get eliminated till week 16, which to me was like, oh, this is great, But now the last half decade has obviously been very good. If we win on Sunday, then they've been especially good. And then at that point as a fan, you don't have a right to complain for at least another decade. I think if you win a Super Bowl and you were in 2 Super Bowls within a 5-year period and you win one of them and you win division titles every year, your team can stink for the next decade and you have no right to complain. No right to complain. So anyway, 22 years ago, I was getting ready for the Rams to beat the Titans in Super Bowl 34, to answer your question.
There you go. Well, you were also, and this is tomorrow, so people that are listening to this on Thursday, it'd be our true day. I had this ready to go, but unfortunately we recorded on a Wednesday before this. But 22 years ago tomorrow, the 10th, your Cincinnati Reds acquired Ken Griffey Jr. Do you remember that? What you were feeling in that moment?
I do. I went out and bought the Sports Illustrated that week, back when print magazines existed. And, I still have that. Every now and then I read the article on how the trade came together. And, we don't have time to do it. Well, actually, we do have time to do that today, but we're not going to do that.
I was going to say, you could literally get that Sports Illustrated and read it.
You would love that. Like,
word for word, yeah. I'm not against it. If you want to do it, I'm down. It's up to you. So.
You should hunt it down. You would love that, like how the trade came together.
Yeah. I've listened to a few podcasts about it. There was this one called The Kid that was really good. But yeah, it's pretty wild how it all went down and how it all came to be. And just for people that don't remember, I mean, obviously the Cincinnati Reds Ken Griffey Jr. era did not go great, is probably the best way to put it. But at the time, it was like one of the biggest sports transactions like ever. You know what I mean? It was
seismic.
It was Ken Griffey Jr. in the year 2000, and he had just strung together like a decade of being like one of the greatest players in the league, like just the face of baseball, one of the coolest dudes in baseball too. Great swing, I mean, like baseball rarely had guys this cool. I mean, he was like one of the first, like in the sense of like cool, not just like cool because he's good, or cool because like truly like every generation of people thought this guy was cool as fuck. You know what I mean? Like he had the backwards hat. He looked cool. Nike made shoes of him. Like that just didn't happen for baseball. I mean, he was the Michael Jordan of baseball.
He wasn't an asshole.
Right. He was a good dude, and nobody had a bad thing to say about him. And yeah, so he was just incredible for all those years. And then
and he grew up and he was born and raised in Cincinnati because his father was on those great Big Red Machine teams, so he was also coming home. Yeah, it was a huge deal. And yeah, he had, by the way, he had led the league in home runs 3 years in a row. 56 in 97, 56 in 98, and 48 in 99. And that kind of gets lost in a lot of the other stuff going on with the steroids and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, this is a dude that's still elite level. And yeah, there was also not that steroid thing about him either. Because even while McGuire and Sosa was going on, never a steroid cloud around him.
Because look at the guy. It's like if he's using steroids, well, okay, but it sure doesn't. Because the guys that were using steroids, you could see them, and they're like, "Oh my god! Like, why is Sammy Sosa the size of a boulder?" And it's like, yeah, well, because that. Why is is Mark McGuire's forehead protruding from his hat? Well, that's why. But like, so yeah, it was like.
I mean, McGuire had it in his locker.
In his locker, yeah. So. Yeah. Hey, McGuire, what's that? I don't know.
That's a supplement. That's supplement. Right. Then the reporters looked it up, and it was
it was not a supplement. Yeah,
very powerful steroid that he had in his locker. Yeah,
for sure. But so there was that. But yeah, so it was like a huge deal. It's like, oh my God, Griffey he's going to be in prime time. He's in Cincinnati. He's on the quote unquote East Coast of the Midwest or whatever. He's going to his hometown team or whatever. He's one of the greatest players ever. Like just this incredible stuff going on. And then obviously the run did not go well, Joe. Did not go well, but yeah, it was. It was a cultural like phenomenon, like you said. Like it was one of those things that you couldn't believe that the Mariners would ever trade Ken Griffey Jr. because guys like that just never get traded, and you couldn't believe if they had to trade him, wow, they brought it to like he went to his hometown Cincinnati Reds or whatever, and that was your team. I just can't imagine the intrigue and the excitement in Cincinnati, especially when you traded Mike Cameron and Brett Tomko and a bunch of, what I mean? It was like nobody to get him either, which was nuts. Like I remember the White Sox had Mike Cameron and traded him for Paul Konerko, and I remember being so pissed when they traded, when I was like, all they had to do was trade Mike Cameron to get Ken Griffey Jr. This is bullshit. I'm thinking we get Paul Konerko, who obviously at that time was nothing. Paul Konerko ended up becoming like a World Series hero and all that sort of stuff. But at the time, like, are you shitting me? They got Ken Griffey Jr. for Mike Cameron and Brett Tomko. This is bullshit. Like, I hate this. Like, I was upset as a White Sox fan, thinking, man, like, one of the key pieces of this deal, we traded for some dude. Like, what are we doing here? So yeah, it was crazy. It was a crazy thing. Yeah, I just stumbled upon that being 22 years to the day. February 10th, 2000 was when that trade went down. So,
well, he had a great first season in Cincinnati in 2000. He legitimately played great. But he just couldn't stay healthy. He didn't play one full season the entire run. He had 2 other 30 home run seasons, but again, they were, he was constantly in and out of the lineup. The problem is he turned 30 the year they traded for him, and we kind of talked about he wasn't a steroid guy, but he also wasn't a fitness guy. And he was always a little pudgy, or he was starting to get pudgy, and then by the time he got to Cincinnati and hit his 30s, he really started to pack on a lot of weight. And he was never like a fatso, but he definitely started to pack on some weight, and he was constantly getting hurt. He almost immediately was no longer an effective center fielder. And when he was in Seattle, he was the best center fielder in baseball. I mean, well, maybe,
Andrew
Devon
Jones,
White,
yeah.
Andrew Jones. There were other, yeah. He was a very good center fielder, let's put it that way. Gold glove level, legit, not fake gold gloves, but, earning them. But he lost a lot of that. And then there was, he refused it because, look, he's a Hall of Fame athlete. He didn't want to admit that he couldn't play center field anymore. So they couldn't get him to agree to move to right field until the very tail end before we traded him to the White Sox, ironically enough.
Who put him back in center field, by the way, if you were wondering.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
40-year-old Ken Griffey Jr.
Yes. They were like, well, we can't in good conscience put him in anything but center field. I'm like, the Reds have just done that for 8 years. Like, it's okay. Put him in right field, for God's sake.
It took the Reds like 7 or 8 years to convince him to move to right field. And then they trade him to the White Sox. They put him right back in center field.
He started the 163, the 163rd game of the year, where the White Sox tied the Twins.
Yeah.
For the Central. He started in center field that game. Thank God they got him out. He had a good throw. He had a good throw from center field. Actually got a guy out at the plate. It was a pretty important play. Then they got him out in the 9th inning, thank God, and put a guy named Brian Anderson in there, who was a great defensive center fielder.
Brian.
And a ball hits a center field. Brian Anderson lays out, catches it, and that's how they win the game. And I'm like, oh my God, if that was Griffey, like they're scoring so many runs if that's Ken Griffey Jr. So it was, it was one of these things where they're like, well, it's Ken Griffey Jr. He has to play center field. And it's like, no, he doesn't though. He really doesn't. He needs to be in right. So
he not only was he no longer a good enough athlete to play center field, the injuries, like my lasting memories of Ken Griffey Jr. in a Reds uniform is pulling hamstrings like every season. He would constantly pull his hamstrings and failing to get the balls in the gap and then lightly jogging after them because he couldn't run at a full sprint anymore without tearing a hamstring. So I don't have fond memories of Ken Griffey Jr. And to me, he's a Seattle Mariner and will always be a Seattle Mariner. But there's Reds fans who still idolize this guy. And I never quite understood that because he didn't have good years there. The team was never good. The entire thing was a failure at the end of the day, trading for him, bringing him in, and they weren't good any of those years. The year before the Reds brought him in, they got to game 163. Remember, they lost the Mets. So they were a good team in 99. And then they were terrible for his entire tenure, and they were right back in the playoffs the year after they traded.
The year he left, yeah.
So it's like they were good before he got there, and then they were good. Then the Votto years came. The Votto, Jay Bruce, Johnny Cueto years came after they traded him. So my fond memories are with those teams. The Griffey years, I don't have fond memories of it. I don't have fond memories of Griffey. In fact, for most of that tenure, I really didn't even like the guy because he couldn't stay on the field. A lot of those years, he didn't even play well when he did play. He had a couple good years here and there. So I have no reverence for Ken Griffey as a Reds fan, and a lot of Reds fans still do. And I know he hit his 500th home run in Cincinnati, maybe his 600th too.
I think 600. Yeah, I believe it was 600 because he did one of them on Father's Day. I forget which one that was. Maybe the 500 or whatever. But yeah, it was a cool moment. There was a few cool moments in between all the other. Yeah.
He might have hit 4, 5, and 6 in Cincinnati.
He may have. Yeah, he had good counting stats.
See. Now you know that normally I would know this stuff, but I don't. I have no.
Yeah, no reverence.
Care.
No reverence for him at all. Yeah.
Like, I should know this stuff because I know everything else, but I So.
And Jay Mull puts up a great point in the chat, the Notice chat room as well, of people that weren't alive at this time too. So the Reds were good. Then Griffey goes to them, and it's like, oh my God, they're getting one of the best players in the league or whatever. And Seattle's losing one of the best players in the league. And then they went on to, like, in 2001 win, like, the most games in, like, Major League Baseball history. The year after they lost Griffey, and then they would lose the next, in 2000, they would lose Alex Rodriguez. So it's like, all right, well, this team has lost Randy Johnson, Ken Griffey Jr., and Alex Rodriguez. They're done. Oh, wait, they just won, like, 118 games or whatever, with Brett Boone and Ichiro. So it's like, what? The
Ichiro version. Yeah. That's true. They lost 3 Hall of Famers. And a year later, they broke the record for wins in a season. Now they didn't win the World Series.
Yeah, they blew it. They blew it in the first. Not the first round. I think they got the second round, but
yeah. The Ichiro, Brett Boone. Who else was on that team? Edgar Martinez was still there.
Yes.
And whoever else was on that team, I can't remember anymore. But yeah. So that was the Griffey trade. Then we traded him to the White Sox. Do you remember, without looking, who the White Sox traded for?
Of course, Danny Richard, I believe, and
the other guy actually was useful for the Reds.
Oh, Nick Bassett, right?
Nick Massett.
Or Massett. I said Bassett. There was a Chris Bassett. Sorry, there was a Chris Bassett who was on the White Sox. It was Nick Massett. Yes.
Yeah, Nick Massett, who was a useful, 7th, 8th inning reliever for those early Votto teams before he eventually flamed out. Danny Richard did not work out, but to get anything for the husk of Ken Griffey Jr. at that point was fine. But for a guy who's one of the greatest players of all time, he didn't. The players he was traded for.
Yeah, you would never think. Yeah, it's Brett Tomko, Mike Cameron, Danny Richard, and Nick Massett.
Yeah, now, Mike Cameron was a nice player.
Yeah, Cameron was good. Yeah,
he was a nice player. But in fact, what was Cameron? This will be interesting.
I'm pretty sure Cameron did have a better year, or better, like, couple of years. There was a year where Cameron was really, really good on the Mariners.
Let's do Mike Cameron's WAR. Let's just have some fun with this, and then we'll do some wrestling. So what was Mike Cameron's WAR from 2000 till 2011? He had
because then he went to the Brewers and was pretty good for a while, and
so he was worth 35 WAR after the trade. Let's check Griffey now. It'll probably be a little higher, but maybe not as much as people think. Griffey from 2000 on was worth 13. So
Yikes.
Mike Cameron, I wasn't even expecting that because I thought those,
Cameron was good. He had those Brewers
Cameron
years. He was solid as hell until the early 2000s, basically, or the late 2000s. He was still solid.
You know what kills Griffey here? He has his defensive WAR totally crushes him in those years.
Yeah.
It dragged, and Cameron was
a great defender. Yeah, one of the best center fielders in the league.
And he was a useful offensive player. So Mike Cameron ended up being worth about 20 to 22 wins above replacement over Ken Griffey Jr. after the trade.
Nuts, yeah.
So that's why I hold no real reverence for Ken Griffey as a Red.
For sure.
And then, God, I can't tell you how many times I've gone to, like, Astro games when they're playing the Reds and fucking Ken Griffey shirtsy guy sits right next to me. And,
right.
I got to hear about fucking Griffey, and I don't want to hear about, this Joey Votto walks too much, but let me tell you about Ken Griffey. I'm like,
tell me about Ken Griffey. Tell me about it.
There's nothing you can tell me about Ken Griffey that I don't
Holding
know.
His knee in a limp position as he's, collapsing on his way to first base. Yeah, that's the lasting memory I have of, like you said, every time he'd run to first, holding the hamstring, and then the one time where his knee just exploded.
That's Reds Griffey. Look, he's a Mariner. He's an all-time great, but he's a fucking Mariner.
They have retroactive, I believe, like he's at the Hall of Fame. It's a Mariner thing. The Mariners have re-embraced him. He ended his career in Seattle, so it all kind of worked out I think in the end, but I think most people do. Yeah.
Well, these Reds fans try to claim him, and
you guys got enough. You don't need Ken Griffey Jr.
No, he's not ours. He belongs to the Mariners. That's all there is to it.
You got Johnny Bench. You got Joey Votto. You got a bunch of other people. You can have Adam Dunn. You got Adam Dunn too. Yeah, you got all of the Big Red Machine. Literally, name any of the Big Red Machine. You got him. That's fine. So
and Griffey's old man was a very good player. That obviously overshadowed by his son, but he was an excellent player. Let's see, a 35 WAR player over the course of his career. Yeah. But remember, he played till he was like 42. So if you just take his prime or whatever, he was with the Reds for like 8 years, and he was worth 25 WAR with the Reds during the Big Red Machine days. So, his father wasn't that. Did you know his father, Ken Griffey, was? I want to make sure I get the story right, but he was supposed to. Oh, that's what it was. So he was a very good high school football player, and he was recruited by Marshall, and he would have been on the plane, and there would be no Ken Griffey.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I have heard that story. That's nuts.
Mm-hmm. So that's a little interesting butterfly effect kind of deal. If he would have went to Marshall to play football, he would have died in a plane crash. There'd be no Ken Griffey Jr. But, I mean, those things are dumb anyway, because if he went to Marshall to play football, he may have never banged Ken Griffey Jr.'s mother, his whole life.
That's true. Right. A lot of things would have changed. Yes, a lot of things would have possibly changed.
So. Still a cool story, though.
Yeah, definitely. So there you go. I just saw that and was like, oh, man, I got to talk to Joe about that, especially on a show where we have nothing to talk about. But we'll find some stuff here. So let's talk professional wrestling, and we'll start with Keiji Mutoh and Joe, this 6-year-old man.
Talk about playing too long.
Yeah, this 6-year-old man, believe it or not, has a bulky hip, Joe. Keiji Mutoh had a press conference this week. Him and Naomichi Marufuji had a press conference announcing that they are vacating the GHC tag team titles due to Mutoh suffering from a left hip injury. This is the report from F4WOnline.com. Brian Rose, I believe, wrote this up, for former Voice Wrestling staff member Brian Rose says, quote, Mutoh said that while he had hip issues for a while, they worsened at Noah's Budokan Hall show that took place on January 1st. He also said that he needed to take a painkiller injection before his match at the Noah vs. New Japan card that took place on Yokohama Arena on January 8th. Mutoh, who turned 60 in December, said during the conference that he will return and wants to become GHC national champion. So that's Jesus Christ. The nerve of this guy.
Makes you sick, right?
I mean, okay, in one respect, and we were talking about this on our Discord, voicewrestling.com/Discord, by the way. We were talking about this of like, it does make me sick, but it's also like, dude, if you can get a company to let you do this and like be able, like, and Mutoh he's kind of the same way as Randy Orton is for me, where there was a while where I was like, I fucking hate Randy Orton. Like, that guy stinks, that guy sucks, or whatever. Or Kevin Nash, kind of the same way. And then I've come to realize, like, as so many wrestlers are not workers anymore, and so many wrestlers aren't wrestlers, the politicking and stuff is down to a minimum, and guys will just do whatever you tell them to do, and they'll lose to anybody you tell them to lose to. I do kind of respect these guys that are just straight up hustlers, like Randy Orton, who just does the bare minimum and gets the most money out of it. Kevin Nash, same style with him. And Keiji Mutoh, it's just like, he has the ability to just say whatever he wants, and these companies will lay down and die and let him do whatever the hell he wants to do. And it's just so incredible, this entire run that he's had in Noah. They just, push this guy and push this guy and push this guy, gave him titles, gave him wins, did this sort of thing, beat Kiyomiya, We'll talk about all that. But like, he's allowed to get away with it, so why would he ever stop doing this? Why would he not say, yeah, when I come back, I want to win the GHC national title? And if he does come back, they probably will give him the title, because he's Mutoh, and he's somehow earned that in 2022 with these modern companies that still will lay over and die for him. But yeah.
I've never once blamed him. I mean, yeah, they're going to push him and pay him. Give him a 2-year contract. Yeah. I mean, and he's Mutoh, and he's always had the giant ego, and none
of this is a surprise. I mean, this is Mutoh 101.
And I'll blame him because, look, you've seen the quotes in my stories behind the paywall, patreon.com/voices of wrestling. The quotes from inside the locker room, and, he's Mutoh-san, and you do not tell Mutoh-san no. Those are direct quotes, and it's just accepted. What he wants, he gets. You run it by him. If he vetoes something, then Nosawa goes with whatever Mutoh's desires are. That's just the way it is. It's this is nothing new in pro wrestling. Hulk Hogan, threw his weight around until the end of his career. Any big star, And it's changing a little now, I think, with the newer generations.
Yeah, they're not the same. Like I said, they're not the same type of workers in that sense. And even like a Randy Orton, who I said is like, I mentioned him alongside of Kevin Nash and a Keiji Mutoh or whatever. Randy Orton doesn't really give a shit. You can have him lose all you want. Yeah. He's not going to care about that sort of thing. He's not going to care about titles or losing. He's just going to do whatever he can to get paid and do the most minimum thing or whatever. That style of worker, like you're talking about, the guy that, comes in and, well, I need to win and I need this and this is what I need to do, all that sort of, those guys, I mean, they really just don't exist anymore.
That level of politicking is really, look, we've heard stories about Brock Lesnar turning things down and whatnot, but at the end of the day, he comes in and he's done plenty of jobs. I'm sure there's been things that he's turned down. But, someone like Roman Reigns is not demanding that he never lose, even though, again, I'm sure he has ideas and I'm sure his voice is heard in the room. Tanahashi is a guy who obviously New Japan respects and they listen to him and he gets his way on some things. But again, it's not the same level of politicking and carny bullshit and doing whatever it takes to preserve your time at the top and not putting anybody over. And that's the big thing, not putting anybody over, because Hogan never wanted to put anybody over. Muto never wants to put anybody over. And, that's what you don't see from your Tanahashis and your modern aging veterans. Tanahashi, he's responsible for getting Okada over, and without that, who knows if New Japan is where they are right now. Lesnar has done jobs. I think it's more The Office wants Lesnar winning.
Right. I think Lesnar, if you told him, as long as you cut that check, and we've said that before, Lesnar lost his first, the return match that he had in WWE, he lost. Remember, he lost to John Cena, and it's like, that at that time, he was like the big, that was when he was fresh off the UFC thing at his biggest peak or whatever. If Brock Lesnar cared about doing jobs, he would not have lost to John Cena in his debut, but he looked at the check and said, sure, cool, do whatever you guys want. I'll bust my ass, cut that check, make sure it cashes, and I'm good. I'll do whatever you want. And that's always been his MO. But like you said, The Office does not want to. But I really, truly don't think if you presented, hey, Brock, would you mind losing to, Roman or whatever, he's going to say, yeah, sure, I don't give a shit. Like, who cares? Cut that check, let's go. Yeah.
Provided it's a good idea and it's someone he respects and all that. Now, we've heard stories about Lesnar, during this, ever since the return, which has now been like a decade where he's been in and out, where, he's turned some things down or maybe like with Moxley saying that Lesnar didn't really want to work hard with him at that one WrestleMania. Was it WrestleMania or was it?
I think they had a WrestleMania match.
And he was disappointed because Lesnar wasn't open to his ideas and kind of just wanted to moonwalk through the match. It's not like Lesnar's a saint, but we're talking about a different level of politicking and keeping yourself on top when you're talking about guys like Muto and Hulk Hogan and some others throughout the years. And that's what Muto is. We've talked a lot about, the Kaito Kiyomiya stuff and how we were always side-eyeing this situation and very skeptical that one day he would eventually put the kid over. And he's beaten him so many times now that my opinion is, even if Kiyomiya had gotten a big win on him or gets a big win on him, I don't even think it's going to matter that much because Muto has completely and thoroughly dominated him. There was the story I wrote about where Muto insisted on being introduced after Kiyomiya at Wrestle Kingdom Night 3 on the joint show, which is, again, Muto didn't want to be presented as beneath Kiyomiya in any way whatsoever.
Right, this man's 60, by the way. This man is 60.
And they had to change the production of the show last minute because Muto wouldn't make his entrance unless it was after Kiyomiya. And then Muto didn't like a lot of Tanahashi's ideas for the match. Tanahashi, thinking logically, like someone who is interested in getting new people over, said, hey, look, let's give the hot tag to Kiyomiya. No, Muto-san. Oh, no. I'm getting the hot tag. Okay, you're beating him down, and I'm taking the hot tag in this thing. And, if you're Tanahashi, this isn't your fucking business or your problem. So you shrug your shoulders and you say, all right, well, whatever. I'm going back to New Japan after this, so it doesn't matter to me. And Muto gets his way because the Noah office gives Muto his way because Nosawa feels like he owes Muto a lot. Muto took care of him years ago. Muto's a legend. They feel like Muto has made a huge difference for their business. And Muto's an old school politicker. And even at his age, He's just not interested in getting anyone over but himself. And
I didn't realize. I'm looking at his singles matches in Noah. This is a bloodbath. It's a bloodbath. I didn't remember this. I thought we were overstating it a little bit with Muto, just because you and I aren't big Muto guys, or we're kind of just like, it's
because our big thing is the matches fucking stink because he can't move.
Yes, correct.
And we're also a show and analysts who look at this we always look at business on top of we always work business into our analysis. And we just know from doing this that this was very shaky and a bad idea to have this guy run through your roster, especially Kiyomiya.
Right. Whatever short-term games you were going to get from it, probably not worth it in the long term.
But look, exactly. But had the matches been better, I don't know if we'd be as hard on it. But now we have to sit through these awful matches on top of this guy burning through the roster. You know what I mean? But anyway, go ahead and make your point.
Yeah, so we'll start his official run in Noah August of 2020. Is that fine? He did in November 2019. Hell, you know what? Let's count November 2019. Let's do it. Great Muto defeats Naomichi Marufuji. Okay, boom.
All right, who cares? Maru isn't really that's all right. It's a one-off match.
Yeah, it was battle of the aesthetics. It's Great Muto. It's the
Marufuji, who is the last remaining Noah legend from the old green mat. And Marufuji's a guy who's the complete opposite of Muto. He don't want to be pushed. Marufuji's just like, my body's in pain.
Right.
I don't want to do shit.
Yeah.
Just put me in the mid card.
Occasionally they have to make him win a title, and he's just like, all right, fine.
Yeah. So I could totally that result is fine.
Yeah, that one's fine. All right, so August of 2020, he appears again. Now that's his new run here in Pro Wrestling Noah. Technically his first run, quote unquote, in Noah. Keiji Mutoh defeats Kaito Kiyomiya on the Noah 20th anniversary show.
Okay, no problem. As long as then we
20th anniversary tour. It's 20th anniversary tour, not the actual 20th anniversary show. But yeah, he beats Kiyomiya, 27 minutes, long match, quote unquote grueling match, if you want to call it that. Grueling for me, I guess, but some people would call it a grueling match. But Keiji Mutoh defeats Kiyomiya, 27 minutes.
And we weren't in full rant mode yet because we were thinking like logical wrestling.
Let it play out. Let it play out.
We're thinking, all right, well, they're setting up Keiji Mutoh to put over their next great star. This actually isn't the worst idea, but it's Keiji Mutoh, so they better be careful here. That's where we were at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
November 2020, he beats Shohei Taniguchi.
Who cares? He should beat him.
GHC heavyweight title here, February 2021. Keiji Mutoh defeats Go Shiozaki to win the GHC heavyweight title.
All right, now we got a problem. We got to get this title off Shiozaki. He's got to get double shoulder surgery or whatever it is. We understand that. But here now, Rich and I, we recognize that there is a major problem. But we're still saying at this point, oh, well, Kiyomiya will probably beat him for the title. So, and remember, this is what we were saying. And then they can go back to Kiyomiya Shiozaki when Shiozaki comes back.
Right.
But that's what a logical, smart booker would do. That is not what they did.
All right, so you're thinking maybe. I got an idea here. March of 2021, Great Voyage in Fukuoka. Kaito Kiyomiya is facing Keiji Mutoh for the title. I get it. Keiji Mutoh is a transitional champion. They didn't want Kiyomiya to beat Go Shiozaki. They're both baby, okay.
And this was actually very smart because they had Muto beat Kiyomiya the first time.
Right.
And now he can not only get revenge, but win the title as well.
Makes all the sense in the world. Perfect booking here. Keiji Mutoh defeats Kaito Kiyomiya.
And now you're like, all right, what the fuck? This is a goddamn... Right. Now we're at the point where we're like, this is a disaster. This motherfucker just isn't going to lose to anybody. Now we're burying Kiyomiya, right? And, in hindsight, maybe we were too strong on that messaging. Because at the end of the day, I don't know how much all of this is going to hurt Kaito Kiyomiya.
Right. It was just the aesthetics of it were kind of tough to
But
handle.
I'm going to tell you this. It's not helping him either. That's the important thing. I don't know how much this could hurt him. We don't know yet. Check back in 5 years. We'll see if all of this, hurt him or derailed him or whatever. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But by never beating the guy, it didn't help him. And what's the point of bringing in a Keiji Mutoh if it's not to help get people over? That's all.
Right.
And I don't know how people argue with that. Honestly, to me, that's an inarguable point. But people still find ways to argue with us.
Right. You got to let me know how this helps him. How getting beaten like a drum helps him. That's it. You can disagree or say, whatever. Oh, he shouldn't have won the title there anyway. Muto should have had the title. It's good. But yes, how does this help your long-term goal of getting Kiyomiya over, which should presumably be your goal here? But
of this potential decade, 15-year superstar that you have on your hands.
Right.
What are we doing to help him? None of this is helping him. And it might be hurting him. That's all. How can you argue with that? But anyway, you make
so then April of 2021, he defeats Masa Kitamiya as well.
Yeah,
another young wrestler. Again, whatever. Like, I don't want Masa Kitamiya probably winning the title here, but just the aesthetics of a 6-year-old man beating this brick shithouse of a man who can destroy everybody, has great matches. It's just the aesthetics of Keiji Mutoh defeating Masa Kitamiya. Just I don't know, a little tough.
That's what you said at the time, and I hear what you're saying. And at the same time, I think Masa Kitamiya is just a guy. Can we agree on that at this point?
For sure. Oh, no doubt. Yeah. I just don't like the optics of a 6-year-old guy just sweating and like beating the hell out of Masa Kitamiya.
Listen, can I suspend my disbelief for it? No, I cannot. But do I think it's a big deal in the big picture?
No,
I do not.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
So,
but it is hard to accept this broken down 60-year-old who can barely move beating that tank. That is kind of hard to wrap your, you can't suspend disbelief for that very easily. And I think that's what we said at the time.
And then June of 2021, Cyber Fight Festival, Muto decides, you know what, guys? It's time to do business here. It's time for me to do what I should be doing here and getting the young guys over. GHC heavyweight title match. He loses the GHC heavyweight title to Naomichi Marufuji. Naomichi Marufuji. What, 42-year-old Marufuji.
Yeah. So here's the funny thing. Why did he choose Marufuji? Who did Marufuji then lose the title to? Let's pull that up in the old Noah cage match database and piece this mystery together. Let's figure this one out.
Yeah, he would eventually lose it, Joe, to Katsuhiko Nakajima, who is younger than Naomichi Marufuji by about 10 years.
Yeah, so what we have here is Keiji Mutoh saying, this is how this went. And stroking
the goatee for sure, right?
This I can't confirm because this I don't know for sure, but we can safely deduce this is how this one went. Nosawa walks in the room. Muto's got the title draped over his shoulder. He's going and shining that baby up, right? He's got the title. He's like, listen, yeah. Like, listen, we're gonna put this on. We've been rebuilding Nakajima for the last 2 years, and he's getting hot, and we think it's time to put the title back on him. So we're going to need you to do the job for Nakajima. And then Muto-san said, that's not going to work for me, pal. I'm not losing.
Stroking that goatee going, I don't know about that, brother.
let's try again. Pitch me something
what else you got? What else you got, pal?
Yeah, because I'm not losing to him. And then, I guess he respects Marufuji enough because he's somewhat close to his generation. So he said, all right, I'll lose it to that guy. And then, of course, so they had to use Marufuji as the whatever you want to call it, transitional.
Transition champion here, yeah.
Because he immediately dropped it to Nakajima, which tells you that they wanted Nakajima to beat Muto, and Muto told him to go kick rocks. So that's what we're dealing with here.
Yeah. So he's lost that title. So you're assuming at this point, Joe.
It's like Hulk. You know what it's like? It's like Hulk Hogan. It's like wanting Hulk Hogan in 1998 to put, I don't know, who's a good comp? Diamond Dallas Page. Who got hot around that time?
DDP. I mean, Goldberg did, and he eventually did do it for Goldberg. DDP would be a good one, but
and then Hogan saying, "That ain't gonna work for me, brother. I'll drop it to Savage." Like that's what this was.
Yeah.
Like picking someone he respects as opposed to doing it for doing the right thing and losing directly to the next guy.
Well, either way, this should wrap things up. He's no longer the champion. Things should now finally just, at this point now the story going forward is, okay, Muto on his way out, losing to the guys, getting guys over, that sort of stuff,
time
right?
To give those wins back, right? That's what it's time for.
Yeah. So at Muta the World, I guess it's tough when the show's name is named Muta the World, but at Muta the World, the Great Muta defeated Kano. That was in June of 2021.
That's a smart move. That's one that I would have. What are we doing here? Why don't we just keep him away from Kano? Why does he have to beat Kano too? Does he have to go like a hot knife through butter through anyone that could potentially draw money when he's gone?
Then at the N1 victory, that's in September of 2021, N1 victory tournament, he starts out the N1 with a time limit draw to Segura. He's not even going to put Segura over.
No. And you want to talk about failure to suspend disbelief. At least Kitamiya is like just a mid-card guy. Okay? Takashi Segura not only would, like, when you look at these two men physically and where they are in their lives, he would just tear this man limb from limb, like with minimal effort. Like, but he's also pushed as a top guy. So you can't even work like with Kitamiya, you could at least say, okay, in kayfabe, Mutoh should beat this man.
Yes, right.
With Segura, you can't even use the kayfabe.
No, kayfabe-wise, real life-wise, any-wise, there's no way that this man should not be able to beat Keiji Mutoh.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. Like, this company was so good and has been so good, except for this shit. It's like it just totally takes you out of it. It ran you away. Like, you stopped watching.
I'm back now. And now that he's out, I'm fucking all the way in now. Like, I'm all the way because this roster is incredible. It's just, I had to skip a lot of his matches moving forward, but I don't have to do that anymore. Because
you know what it's like? You know what Mutoh having a draw with Segura? It would be like Bret Hart when he came back and couldn't take bumps anymore because of the stroke. Like, credibly going to a time limit draw with like fucking John Cena at 38 years old.
Right. Like, Sheamus. He's and Sheamus are
perfect. Sheamus is even better. That's perfect. And you're supposed to buy that. Like, he could possibly, it's impossible. Like, that's how ridiculous it was watching these matches. But anyway.
That is not it for the N1 because he's got a few more matches in the N1. He defeats Manabu Soya, which it's fine. I mean, it's my guy, but
I'm
okay.
not going to badmouth Manabu Soya, but not a pushed commodity, and I have to say that I don't have a problem.
It's fine.
Nice guy, Manabu Soya, though.
Is he? Have you met him?
I have not met him.
Okay, so I thought maybe you had met Manabu Soya somehow. You got a pretty fun story here. Anyway, so N1, last match in the N1, Kaito Kitamiya and Keiji Mutoh. It all makes sense now. Duh, of course.
They'll get him in the N1. Why didn't we think of this? And he'll win the block.
Dummies, you idiots. Time limit draw. Had to go 30 with him.
So still never beat Mutoh-san. And Mutoh-san was like, listen, they probably asked him to lose, and he's like, not going to work for me, brother.
Yeah. I don't have to beat him, but I'm not losing to him.
I'm not losing to him. Not today, pal. Not till this hip goes. So, time limit draw in the N1. Wouldn't even do the job there. So, that's 0 for 3 for Kiyomiya versus Mutoh. Not to mention, we're not even doing the tags.
No, God only knows about the tags.
We're not even doing the tags. This man held tag gold. He beat Kiyomiya in tags. I mean, it's absurd.
He's got one more singles match here.
Yeah.
I'll let you guess here, Joe. It's Man Crush 2021, one of the incredible show names of the year. December of 2021. Masaki Mochizuki, Keiji Mutoh, Joe. Who won in Korakuen Hall between Masaki Mochizuki and Keiji Mutoh?
Well, Mochizuki, who is also very old, but he still wrestles like he's young. Surely he kicked the old man's head off and pinned him clean in the middle, right?
10 minutes, 15 seconds, Keiji Mutoh won.
Well, what are you going to do?
So if you're keeping count at home, that is 12, if we count that 2019 one-off or whatever. That's 12 singles matches in Pro Wrestling Noah from late 2019 until late 2021.
How many losses there?
Joe, there is one loss. So he was 11-1 in singles matches during this most recent run.
Had to drop the title at some point.
Yeah. And
and now
he's gone.
Now he's crippled and thinks he can come back, but I'm highly dubious of that.
I think this might be it. This might be the end of the road here.
This might be it. So what we never considered when we were ranting and raving all of those times about how Kiyomiya is never going to get the win back because Mutoh-san's never going to agree to do it. And even if he does get the win back, it may not matter after, 3 or 4 times failing to defeat him before. What we never considered was Mutoh literally breaking down into dust and not being able to put him over even if he wanted to.
I think I don't know. I feel like I probably brought that up at one point of people saying, "Oh, let it play out, let it happen, let it happen." And I was like, I don't know how much you have of Keiji Mutoh. Like, I think I might want to. And that was my plan of like, okay, after he lost that title, if you want to do the title thing, if you want to, I get it. But like after you lose that title, I'm like, all right, the clock is ticking here. The hourglass is, is falling here with Mutoh. Like, I don't know how much longer I have this guy, so I'm gonna get going here with okay. Let's move things along here. Let's get going because I don't really think that I can pencil Mutoh in for 3 years and say, okay, the first 2 years you're gonna win all your matches, and then when you're 63, we'll bring you back. When my man couldn't walk at all. Like I was listening to Open the Voice Gates. Case Lowe was on Between the Sheets a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about like January of 1999. And in the Wrestling Observer in January 1999, Dave Meltzer has a thing that says Keiji Mutoh's badly hurting. People wonder how long he's going to last or whatever. And like it was already happening then in 1999. His body was already breaking down. So this idea that we're just going to let it play out with Mutoh and hey, maybe it's this old multi-year plan, bro. I don't know that you got years with a 60-year-old guy that's got bad knees and bad hips. It's not like he's in great shape. A 60-year-old alone is not a guy that I really want to book 3 years of. Let alone it being Keiji Mutoh, who can't walk and hasn't been able to walk in 2 decades. Like, what are we doing?
Excuse me, sir. It was a 2-year contract. Okay, don't be tacking years on to make your point. Yeah, I mean, and now it's highly doubtful he ever comes back. And if he does come back, he's going to be winning titles anyway because he just promised it. So, yeah, I mean, what can you say? If more Western reporters and analysts were paying attention to Noah all this time, we surely wouldn't have been the only ones ranting and raving about this. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And the thing about Nosawa is I think he, it seems like he's a pretty smart guy and he does have some creative ideas and some clever ideas. And they really did rehab Nakajima.
Oh, well, most of Noah's booking's been good. Like I think 75% of it I would call good.
Yeah, and I mean, I know the juniors are a disaster, but I don't think they give a shit. It's like the old New Japan, like junior tag situation, and people would say Gato was a terrible booker because the junior tag team titles aren't booked well. No one cares. They're not used to draw money. It'd be nice if everything was booked spectacularly, but you want to be good at the stuff that matters. So like the Noah Juniors kind of have become a meme or had become a meme because of all the affiliations changing every other show and everything. But at the end of the day, they're not drawing money with that. That stuff doesn't matter. They rehabbed Nakajima beautifully. Kano, his stock has risen under the booking regime of Nosawa Rangai. And they do a lot of good things, but you just had this constant dark cloud of Mutoh turning shit down, getting his way, and getting in the way. And I think now that he's out and injured and out of the way, this is really a good opportunity for Noah. Now, there's nobody standing in Nosawa Rangai's way of his ideas coming into fruition. Because for all we know, he was looking at this the same way that we were. Oh, I'll have, we'll beat Kiyomiya the first time, and then we'll use Mutoh to book Kiyomiya. But then if Mutoh refuses to do it, there's nothing you can do about it. Now, would I put myself in a position to be bullied that way? I wouldn't. I would not, personally.
Right. It's not like, I don't think that would come as a complete surprise that you again, like you mentioned Hulk Hogan as a perfect reference. If you hire Hulk Hogan in the year 1999 or whatever, you know what you're getting. You don't think he's going to go and say, hey, man, whatever you guys need, I'm here for it. I'm just happy to be here. Like, that's not going to happen. And that happened a few times, even when Vince brought Hulk Hogan back in like 2005 and 2006. Remember, he kept bringing him back, and like it kept being the same issues over and over again. There was like the Randy Orton thing where he didn't want to put Randy Orton over, and they're like, dude, you're fucking Hulk Hogan. You're 47 years old, man. It's over. Like, let it go. And then Vince would just fire him, and then he'd bring him right back, though. But I think after a certain point, he realized what he was getting in Hulk and only kept him then for, a couple months or, a summer and then send him away again. But like, yeah, you have to know when you're bringing a Keiji Mutoh in what you're getting here. So I don't buy that he's taken, by surprise that Mutoh was doing this, but maybe he did have a better idea, or maybe Mutoh said, yeah, no, or I don't know. I don't know exactly how that went down, but yeah, it does seem like it just, I don't know. It is very, very strange how it all went down. But
I personally don't think the Keiji Mutoh juice is worth the squeeze. and I wouldn't have gotten involved with him.
No,
I mean,
no.
And I just don't think he's worth it.
And people bring, people will say, well, he adds success, he does this, he does that, and
it's on magazine covers, and all that might be true. But the thing about it is, with the new ownership muscle behind them, and the production values that they bring to the table now, and the stable ownership, a powerhouse company behind them, and a bunch of young marketable stars like Nakajima and Kiyomiya and Kano to build with, and with older guys on the roster like Segura and Marufuji who are willing to do business, I'm not convinced Noah wouldn't have been on whatever level of rise you think they're on without Mutoh.
Right,
I am not convinced. I'm sorry, I'm not.
And we said it at the time too, and we challenged people to say, okay, you're telling me, well, Mutoh helps business. You bring Mutoh in, your business helps. Okay, great. What happened with Wrestle One? What happened with Pro Wrestling Masters? What happened with, there's like a lot of things.
Show me.
Like, okay, then why did all of these fail? If we're assuming that just bringing Mutoh in is like this magic wand that you can, this pixie dust that you can throw onto your promotion, and now all of a sudden you're good. Like, maybe
he hadn't drawn a house in like 10 years.
Right. And you can say maybe it's the combination of Mutoh plus all those things that you just said there, the production values and yada and all that sort of stuff. And I can maybe buy that, but this idea that like you bring him in and go ring, and then all of a sudden like now you're, in Budokan Hall, and now you're on magazine covers and stuff, like, I just don't buy that now all of a sudden you're a success, because there's been 15 years of companies not being a success with Mutoh in charge. Wrestle One could not have been more of a Mutoh production and a Mutoh company, and it was not great. You know what I mean? It had a very, very, decent beginning, and then really quickly tailed off and was pretty much a non-factor to the point where he basically disassociated with them at a certain point as well. And now obviously they're at where they're at, where they're not around anymore.
And
so,
look, there's no question he got on magazine covers and he won Tokyo Sports Awards.
Yeah.
All those things. There's no question about it. But I am not convinced they couldn't be in the same place they are now if they would have never brought him in to begin with. And,
you got to show me the numbers. You got to show me the numbers. And COVID attendance is you can use
very
COVID attendance if you want, but I don't.
Very shaky.
Not loving
and
it.
If you want to tell me he got them into big buildings, everyone was getting into the big buildings during COVID because the big buildings were begging for people to book the build. And then you're only selling, quarter capacity tickets anyway.
Yeah. How many times did New Japan run the Tokyo Dome in the last 3 years? You know what I mean? Like, come on.
It's like, so I'm not moved by it. And it's like I said, even if at the end of the day, this run didn't bury everybody and didn't hurt Kiyomiya at all, it didn't help him. So then what the fuck was the point? Because it definitely didn't help him. If you want to sit here and try to tell me that Kiyomiya just being in the same ring helps him, even if he never beats the guy.
By osmosis, I guess.
I cannot accept that argument. I can't. It's garbage. I know too much about wrestling history to even entertain that argument. So maybe we went a little overboard in terms of how much it hurt Kiyomiya. We don't know. That's yet to be determined. We do a show every week and we're expected to have takes. But sometimes we don't know. And things do take time. But we can't come on here and say we have to have takes. But what I know for sure is this Mutoh run didn't help anyone. Didn't help anyone, especially Kiyomiya. So hopefully it's over. Hopefully he gets his hip replacement and his doctors tell him, hey, look, because wasn't there already talk at this presser that it's only going to make the knees, the two replaced knees that he has, it's going to put more stress on those knees now that he has I think this guy's done. But he's a pro wrestler. The temptation's there. He's obviously an egomaniac. And it might be hard for him to turn down, another big chunk of money to come back. And then, you have the same problem again where he's refusing to do business, except now he's even more broken down than he was before. Yeah. And we're really pushing the limits of suspension of disbelief.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's like it's comical how bad he was in the ring.
Yeah, we're getting to the point where he's gonna have to get a wheelchair down to the ring, get in, and it'll be like we're quickly approaching the Dory Funk thing, where it's like, okay, if you want to book Dory Funk or whatever, or any of these guys on your undercard or whatever, that's fine, it's whatever. But like, yeah, you can't you can't suspend your disbelief that these men should be
in a company full of ass kickers.
Right. You're right. That's too the juxtaposition of Noah for what it was over the last 2 years, and then this guy. It's like these guys go out there and just absolutely beat the living shit out of each other, and then I have to buy that 2 weeks later. Kano's like, fighting for his life against Cage. I just can't. I can't do it. I just can't. Yeah. I couldn't do it, and that was a big part of me stopping to watch.
Highly physical, highly athletic style, and like maybe he could pull off this routine in All Japan or something, maybe with like Suwama and Suji Ishikawa. I mean, but it's like in this company with these guys where they're all like fucking murderers,
prize fighters. Yeah, these fucking prize fighters out here. Yeah.
So we'll see. Hopefully he's gone for good. I don't ever look. People get honest. Oh, he's a legend. Look, okay, but I liked watching him in 1995.
Right, I have New Japan World. I'll go watch New Japan World, or I'll go watch 2001 All Japan. I'm good. I got a lot of Muto that I can watch anytime I need to watch Muto. So.
I am more than happy with never watching him step foot in a ring again. I would have been happy with that 5 years ago. I don't need it. It does nothing for me. If that makes me cold, or you want to tell me I don't respect history, which is a joke, obviously. I do very much, but to me. It hurts the legacies of these guys when they wrestle too long like this. So it hurts my memories of these people because now I have to remember this shit. I rather just remember the good stuff.
I'm the same way. Yeah, to me, it's so strange when people get on you. If you don't like seeing old wrestlers or old athletes or old whatever, then you don't respect them. And it's like, no, quite the contrary. Like I just wish when I thought of Keiji Mutoh, I thought of 89, great Muto. I thought of mid-90s New Japan Muto. I thought of 2001 great Muto. But instead, in a couple years when we're going to talk about Keiji Muto, we're probably going to talk about this run. The broken down, battered, beaten, sweaty Muto, just, working his way through these matches, beating everybody. And I don't like, it doesn't mean I don't respect the guy. I just don't really want to watch a 60-year-old guy wrestle in Noah anymore. It's sorry. I hate history, I guess. I hate old people. It's like weird. It's strange that people... I don't know. It's
with his dumb gray chest hairs. I had enough of this guy. Get him out of here. Stupid gray chest hairs. All right, so that's a Muto. We got an ad to read or something.
We do have an ad to read. We have, This is going to be, if you thought
basically the only reason we're here this week.
Right. This is a great week for us to say, Joe, take a breather. Rich, take a breather. But no, in fact, we have three people that want to, three great companies that wanted to sponsor us this week. So that is why we're here giving you this great show. The first of which is our friends at Hellofresh. And with Hellofresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. You skip trips to the grocery store and you count on Hellofresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that is why they are America's #1 meal kit. HelloFresh cuts back on the time spent in the kitchen so you can spend it on your other New Year's resolutions with meals ready in around 30 minutes or less. Plus, they have quick and easy meals, including 20-minute recipes, low prep, easy cleanup, and even a faster route to putting food onto your table. And this is another part too. HelloFresh is 72% cheaper than a restaurant meal of the exact same quality, and you save on average over $65 per month when you order HelloFresh instead of grocery shopping, and that is more money to put towards your other 2022 goals, and of course your multiple TVs that you're going to have in all your rooms. So there you go. So what you're going to do is go to hellofresh.com/VOW16 and use the code VOW16. Now the reason it's VOW16 is you're going to get 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. So it's hellofresh.com/VOW16. You're going to use the promo code VOW16 and you are going to get 16 free meals and 3 free gifts as well. So that is HelloFresh. They are America's #1 meal kit. As we said, save time, save money, and get up to 16 meals for free plus 3 free gifts. hellofresh.com/VOW16 and make sure you use that promo code VOW16. All right.
People want me to, I keep getting requests to review this on the Joe Eats, to do this Little Caesars Batman calzone pizza gimmick thing that they got out for the, I cannot believe that there's another Batman.
I don't even, dude.
I don't Isn't it like these... another reboot kind of deal?
Who knows? I haven't seen a single one of these Marvel or any of these DC movies. I haven't seen any superhero movie. I don't know.
How many times are we going to press reboot on the Batman thing?
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
it's the
it's
Joker.
Probably going to draw $1 billion.
Oh yeah. Joke's on us because it's going to make $1 billion. So.
Yeah, but I don't understand this thirst that people have to constantly have these fucking superhero movies rebooted. I don't understand it, but it's
right.
Whatever.
And then you try to ask, and they're like, "No, it's a different universe, but it's a rebooted universe." You're like, "I don't care. I don't care anymore."
It's gonna be darker and grittier. All right, whatever. Enjoy. But anyway, so they're doing this Batman pizza calzone deal at Little Caesars. The problem is, I think it's just the old crazy calzone, which I already reviewed, with the Batman branding on it.
Yeah, it's just folded.
So,
I think it's just folded in a slightly different way, and yeah, like you said, I think it's
to look like the Batman symbol, but
right.
I think it's the crazy calzone. So I don't know. People keep asking, but I think I'm going to be reviewing the same fucking pizza that I already did. But maybe I'll do it. Who knows? But I just noticed somebody else asking again. So we'll see. There hasn't been a Joe Eats in a while. I got to find something.
Yeah, the gimmicks have kind of slowed down. Yeah, I mean this winter you could have done the triple treat box, but it's just a pizza. You know what I mean? There's not much. Nobody's come up with a whole new concept yet. A lot of these concepts are just rebrands and redos.
I saw Pizza Hut has the spicy pepperoni.
I did see a commercial for that today. Yeah, but I don't know.
But it appears to just be a pepperoni pizza with crushed red pepper flakes on
it. That's what I saw too. The sound isn't on, but I was watching it on Dynamite here, and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, it just looks like it has red pepper on it, which I put red pepper on my pizzas anyway. Yeah. No matter what pizza I have, comes home, red pepper gets on there right away. So, like, what am I going to buy this thing for? I eat red pepper pepperoni pizzas all the time, so I don't know why I need to.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I'll come up with something though, because I haven't done one in a while.
Yeah,
but maybe
monetize that eating again.
You gotta monetize. You gotta monetize everything. All right, what do we got next here? What are we doing?
Let's talk about. Let's go to. We did Keiji Mutoh. Let's talk about Nick Gage's contract here. Yes, an exclusive multi-year contract with Game Changer Wrestling. This is Fightful that had it first. Brett Lauderdale said. Brett Lauderdale, obviously, if you do not know, the owner of GCW. He's put here, from day one, Nick has put his body and literally his life on the line for the fans inside the squared circle. He deserves and has earned the right to be rewarded for 20 plus years of hard work and sacrifice. This historical contract will do just that, allowing him to continue his in-ring career at a pace that is beneficial to his health while beginning to focus on opportunities that take him towards the next phase of his career. GCW would not have achieved the level of success it has without Nick effing Gage, and we are proud to be able to say that GCW will remain Nick's home for the rest of his career. So what do you make of as far as we know, the first contract ever in GCW history? I think Brett even said that he is not, he's not for contracts, but in this case, he made an exception for Nick Gage. So Nick Gage signs a contract, multi-year contract with GCW. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, he says he's never giving out another contract again. He also added that. Yeah, something's up here. This doesn't smell right. I haven't talked to anybody. I don't know anything, but when you combine the fact that there, may have been some discontent leading up to the pay-per-view and, a lot of the dark Twitter stuff that was going around and the idea that it was not set in stone that he was, for sure that he was going to even appear on the pay-per-view, and then the rumor that he could potentially be starting up his own thing if something couldn't be worked out with Game Changer, which we talked about a little bit when we reviewed that pay-per-view. Something's up here because, all right, just think logically. Why would you need to sign Nick Gage to a contract? No one else is going to sign him. Like, he's unsignable. He's not going, no disrespect to Nick Gage, but we all know what Nick Gage is. He's not going to be in the Performance Center anytime soon. Okay? I know AEW used them as a one-off and it was creative and it was fun, but they're not bringing in Nick Gage and handing him a contract. Ring of Honor doesn't do contracts anymore, so they're just booking people on a per-show basis. MLW has contracts, but yeah, we all know the deal with that, and maybe they would have pursued Nick Gage. I have no idea. I don't see Impact as being a place that would employ Nick. Nick Gage is basically unemployable with major league television professional wrestling companies. New Japan wasn't going to sign a guy like that. So if you're essentially competing with yourself, then what's the point of locking him in to begin with? Well, the only thing I could possibly come up with is that it is to prevent Nick Gage from going rogue and starting up his own thing. So maybe Game Changer looked at it as, okay, instead of let's just eliminate that possibility. Let's draw up a contract that says, you wrestle for us now, and I don't know the details of the contract. Neither does anybody. I haven't seen anybody report the details. Maybe it says, you wrestle for us. We're going to pay you X amount of dollars per whatever. Show, month, week, I don't know, year. But now we also control anywhere else that you work. So you want to work an indie date? You got to go through us. You want to do something on TV for AEW? You got to go through us. And that way it prevents Nick Gage from potentially starting something else up on his own, which honestly is the biggest threat to what Game Changer has going on right now. It's not MLW. It's not any of the television promotions. The biggest threat to the slice of market share that Game Changer has carved out would be if they lost their biggest star and their biggest star competed head-to-head with them in some other venture backed by someone else. That's my speculation on all this. A contract doesn't make sense otherwise. So what do you think?
I think there's two possible scenarios here. I think one, I do think what you're saying there is a decent idea, that maybe there was this worry that, okay, if a dust up ever happens again, or we don't see eye to eye again or whatever, that Gage might go. And the one thing, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago as well, the one thing that's going to stop, if anything is going to stop GCW's momentum, because we said either they continue to grow or they stay at the level they are, whatever it's going to be, whatever could stop that momentum would be Nick Gage breaking off or not being a part of it anymore, and his fans and the people that really truly adore Nick Gage going with him wherever he goes, of saying, okay, yeah, I love GCW, but I like Nick Gage even more. So if Nick Gage is wrestling in CZW, well, I'm going to start following CZW and start watching CZW now. Or if Nick Gage starts Nick Gage, Invitational Wrestling or whatever, then I'm going to start watching that show. I'm going to start watching that thing or whatever, because Nick Gage is why I'm here. He is, again, they call him the god of the shit, all this sort of stuff. Like, he is presented as like the singular biggest thing in GCW, and rightfully so. He absolutely deserves that, and he actually belongs in that spot. But like, that is the one thing that could have broken it away. So I see what you're saying is like, and I totally agree that if maybe there was something going on and they got wind, or he kind of alluded to, hey, you know what, I'm going to start my own thing, and you guys are really going to be fucked, that may have gotten them to the table and say, okay, Nick, what do you want? Let's just make sure that whatever was going to happen with GCW moving forward, we and you are together in doing this and growing it, and we'll do whatever we can to prevent you from going and doing whatever, but also we can continue to grow. You can continue to be financially secure, yada yada yada. Let's do that. I think that's obviously a very, very good scenario and a very solid scenario there. It could be as plain as them just doing him a solid, I guess. But like you said, I don't know that you really necessarily need to do that. I don't know if there's really a reason to do that, other than maybe it's just they got to a point where they're realizing that Nick isn't going to be able to go at the level he used to go anymore, and that he's not going to be able to do that anymore. So they don't want to leave him out in the open, and maybe GCW thinking, hey, this guy is the biggest reason why we're here. He's the biggest reason why we're popular or whatever. Let's do him a solid, get him this guaranteed money or whatever, get him this contract so he knows that, he doesn't have to literally kill himself, to get paid or to put food on the table, because we're always going to be able to help him out here. So it's possible it's that too. It's possible it was half like, oh God, we're worried, and then also, hey, let's just do him a solid. But I think it's got to be only those. I can't imagine any other reason why this happened other than those two reasons. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's no threat of him being signed away by a television promotion. So it has to be, this essentially prevents him from competing with you at your level if you have him under contract. And presumably, if you have him under contract, then you can dictate when and where he works for other people. Otherwise, what's the point of the contract? So, and I like the point that you made. It's also a way, because they mentioned that he could work it. They even mentioned a reduced schedule. I think they even said
that.
Yeah,
they did. Yeah, it says, I don't know if this says it's at a pace that is beneficial to his health. Continue his in-ring career at a pace that is beneficial to his health, which I think is just, hey, don't take every booking you need because you want to get paid. Like, we'll give you some extra money to not have to work a couple weekends and work when we need you to work type of thing.
And, maybe give him a little more money than you were giving him before, but the trade-off is it guarantees he doesn't go against you. So that's my read on it. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. So I don't know. Maybe people will reach out to us after they hear this, if we're way off or if we're dead on. I didn't really try to talk to anyone about this week, but I'm going to look into it a little more. But it's just weird because otherwise, what's the point? So, unless the idea is, all right, well, Game Changer is going to start locking people up, but they flat out said they're never giving out another contract again. This is just an isolated thing, a special circumstance, and they don't believe in contracts and all that. So, that throws that out the window. So, I don't know. Just very weird, very bizarre. Doesn't make sense on the surface. So, there has to be an underlying reason, and I think that's what it probably is.
So that's the Nick Gage story. Bounce around to another. Actually, you know what? Here, since we're talking independence, you want to talk about Wrestlemania Weekend?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do that. So Wrestlemania Weekend, we obviously have the whole weekend schedule up at voicesofwrestling.com. It is on the sidebar as well, so if you need to see it. We do this every single year where we like to put every one of the shows on there. Try to get as much of the card as we can get on there because most of these companies are pretty terrible about making it easy to find their cards. So we try to make it a little bit easier for you over at voicesofwrestling.com. So this is the 10, so far what we have right now as of 2/9. This is your Wrestlemania Weekend schedule. There's some fun shows. There's some interesting shows. There's some bad shows, Joe, for sure. But this is the tentative. We'll obviously do bigger.
So are you gonna do this by venue? Because we're broken up into there's the Game Changer venue.
Yeah, you know what? I can do that.
IWTV.
Let me get I got a spreadsheet up here, so I can do that if you want to do venue, because that'll be a good way to do it. Yeah, then doing the days is going to be tough because there's.
So who do we know? We know that Game Changer has a venue. We know IWTV is. Does IWTV have a venue?
I don't know if they officially do right now. I know that we have. One thing we have, obviously, WrestleMania is going to be at AT&T Stadium, the Jerry World.
WWE, of course, yeah.
GCW is going to be at the Fair Park. I don't know anything about the Fair Park in Dallas, but they're going to be at the Fair Park.
Right.
WrestleCon is at the Fairmont Hotel in Dallas.
Yeah, they've got some interesting sounding things already.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Gillies. I don't know what Gillies is, but Gillies is going to have MLW and Control Your Narrative, Joe. I know you're... If you were on the fence about going to Texas, I know for sure. Well, not going to Dallas, I should say, but I know if you were.
So we have an MLW building.
Yes, Gillies.
MLW building.
The Regalia Theater.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's it's in Fort Worth, and that's like insane hardcore wrestling and Zello Pro and stuff. So that's one of the kind of off-brand ones. There's Southern Junction in Irving, Texas, and that has world-class pro wrestling, doing a few shows. And then one that I think we'll probably be able, if we needed to get some information about, we can probably ask some people that we know. St. Jude Hall in Arlington is holding Texas Mania 3, which will have River City Wrestling. We obviously have done some stuff with River City Wrestling many, many years ago. Inspire Pro, we've done stuff with Inspire Pro as well. New Texas Pro. So kind of the Texas Indies are kind of going to St. Jude Hall in Arlington. So they'll have that as well.
And that's an interesting venue to me because we're in Texas and the Texas Indies have decided not to just, work with Game Changer or WrestleCon or MLW or one of these other entities. They're running their own building, and the weekend is just going to be all Texas shows. You name three of the promotions. New Texas is obviously a promotion that, Brian Keith is their champion. I've been to one of their shows. I've reviewed a bunch of their matches, and they're a new promotion on the scene. They're doing a great job.
I love their stuff. Yeah, I like everything I've seen from them. I enjoy. I just wish I had more time to watch them.
Yeah, and Inspire, obviously, with Biss. And Biss does commentary for New Texas, so there's the connection there. River City from San Antonio getting in the mix, and I'm sure there'll be some others.
Yeah, so the ones right now, we'll start with them because I think they're interesting things here. So they're doing, it's called Texas Mania 3. It's, again, all the Texas Indies all kind of coming together. River City Wrestling, that's on Saturday. Saturday and Sunday is when they're doing all their stuff, by the way. They're doing, starting Saturday all day, starting at noon, all the way till 9 p.m. Or sorry, all the way until midnight, they're doing stuff. So you have River City Wrestling, Gulf Coast Wrestling Alliance, Hybrid, Inspire Pro, New Texas Pro is all on Saturday for that Texas Mania. And then on Sunday, Texas All-Star Wrestling, Global Wrestling Federation. Yes, somehow they have the rights to the original Global. I don't know how or in what way they were able to accomplish it, if they were able to do that. And then I believe on Monday, there's even a show too. VIP Wrestling is going to be doing that, but I believe that's maybe I think that's late Sunday night into what they're basically doing is they're waiting. I think their official word was when WrestleMania is over, that's when our show is going to start type of thing. Give people enough time to get here, but it's not that far from the Jerry World or whatever. So, WrestleMania is done. You decide, you know what? I'll go and check out some more wrestling. They're going to start their show an hour or so after WrestleMania is done or whatever.
VIP is a Dallas Fort Worth promotion, the next North Texas promotion. And I, if I'm not mistaken, they have run post WrestleMania before. They've been in that slot other WrestleMania weekends. If I'm not mistaken, I think they've done that before. But yeah, a lot of those promotions I haven't heard of. They're new to me. Did you say Texas All-Star Wrestling?
Yes, Texas All-Star Wrestling.
If that's the Texas All-Star Wrestling that I'm thinking of, that's one of the oldest indies in Texas, and they run Houston, and they run that VFW hall that NWA Houston used to run before they folded, and they are not a good promotion. But I don't know if that's the Texas All-Star, the same Texas All-Star Wrestling. The others I could vouch for.
Their website says Texas All-Star Wrestling established in 1994.
That's the one.
That might be them, man. Yeah.
That promotion's brutal. I'm not going to pull punches here. They stink. But no, obviously New Texas and Inspire have their shit together. I don't know anything about those other promotions. But what I wanted to say here was, if I do go, and I thought I was going to WrestleMania weekend, now I'm not so sure because I got some life shit that might be in the way. But since it's so close, I'm going to try to get up there at least one of the days. You know what I mean? Just make a day trip out of it at minimum. But I would like to see, as WrestleMania moves around the country, other regions do what these Texas promotions are doing. And get your own building and showcase your own indies, and don't link up or ride with sort of the national promotions that are coming into town. Because I think this is a really good idea. Because you're not going to see, obviously everyone is going to use the same top indie stars. Okay, we get that. But on these Texas shows, you're not likely to get the same dozen people that you're going to get on all of the other shows in town, because they're going to be using a lot of their regular talent because it's local and they're there and they can drive in. And as a fan coming in for a WrestleMania weekend, I'm not saying you plant your flag in the Texas building and you stay there all weekend. Okay, I'm sure you want to see Janela's Spring Break. I'm sure you want to go to WrestleCon. I'm sure maybe you want to see MLW or something. I get it. But if you go to one or two of these Texas shows, you're going to get exposed to talent that you've never seen before. Texas talent. And I think that's a good thing for the scene, for the Texas scene. I think it's a great thing for the talent that might not get booked on a Game Changer show or a WrestleCon Super Show because they're not at that level yet, but they're going to have eyes from all over the world on them. And I think when WrestleMania goes to where are they going next year?
I believe it's LA next year. I think SoFi Stadium.
Then then there should be a fucking California indie building. Like there's a Texas indie building. You know what I mean?
West Coast Pro Wrestling. Yeah. And any number of companies. Yeah. They should all get together and say, all right, even if we hate each other, whatever, this weekend, book this building, split it 8 ways or whatever, and we'll just run it all weekend. And
then we'll go back to hating each other if we have to.
Right.
I'm sure one of us will rip off the other, and we could all go back to hating each other. But it's really good for the talent because it's so hard for. I can tell you right now, I'm not going to name names but there was a Texas talent, many years ago, and I asked this person, how many shows are you booked on this weekend? I ran into them in the city. And I said, how many shows you on? He's like, man, I couldn't get on anything except for kaiju, and I'm underneath a costume.
Man.
And I'm like, that's fucking garbage. And now this person's on national TV. Killing it. You know? But if there had been a local collection of shows like this, now, some of these local Texas wrestlers that might, look, Brian Keith's going to be fine. He's going to work 1,000 matches. I'm not talking about like people like that. But maybe your Rachel Roses or some of your other local Texas talents that haven't broken through on the national indie level will get some exposure on these shows. And Rich, every WrestleMania weekend, there's someone that no one has ever heard of that has a big weekend and it sets them off.
Yeah.
So I think this is a great idea that these Texas indies are doing their own thing. And I think the other regions should all copy this wherever WrestleMania goes.
I agree. Yeah, it's really cool. I think it's my favorite part of this WrestleMania weekend is that, you have your collective stuff, you have your WrestleCon stuff, and those used to be pretty much it. It was those two things. And then there was scattered shows here and there. And then I love this idea that, Saturday all day from noon until midnight, you got Texas wrestling going on St. Jude Hall in Arlington. It's not that far. It's right in the same area. If you're going to WrestleMania, it's not impossible to go to all those shows and go to WrestleMania as well. So that's cool. Yeah, I'm way into that. And I was pretty inspired by the last WrestleMania weekend too, where IWTV set up shop in their own little venue and had their own little thing as well. I just think nothing against the collective or whatever, but I think it is nice to have other companies doing the same thing where it's like, hey, we're also here this entire weekend at this one venue. That's cool. That's good stuff. And it allows you to really just, if you want to just stay there the whole day, or you want to watch it on demand or whatever the whole day, or start watching on streaming, it'll really do. And like you said, the fact that I kind of know who's going to probably wrestle for most of the stuff going on in the collective, it is really cool to know that I'm going to see a bunch of different promotions I've never seen before and a bunch of different wrestlers I've never seen before too, which is what, to me, the point of WrestleMania weekend is. And I think we've unfortunately kind of lost that over the recent years, and it has become something a little bit different, and for better or for worse. But I like the idea of discovering people on this weekend, and that this Texas Mania is going to be really cool to do that. So I'm excited about that happening. As far as the Fair Park, the collective stuff, since we're talking about that, Glory Pro Wrestling will be there. So they're, I'd say, one of the bigger independents that's part of the collective this year outside of the GCW, stratosphere. Unsanctioned Pro and Mission Pro Wrestling are all going to be there as well at various times throughout the weekend. So those are kind of your non-GCW indies that are going to be there.
I'm sure we're getting a 2-night Janela. We know that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be a Bloodsport.
There is a Bloodsport. Yeah, Bloodsport is there. Janela Spring Break Part 6, Part 1 and 2. That is going on Thursday and Saturday. For the Culture is coming back as well. Originally, they gave For the Culture that Thursday at like midnight time slot, and thankfully that got moved because Jesus Christ, that show definitely deserves a better time slot than Thursday at midnight or whatever. So now it is on Friday at 3 p.m. Gringo Loco, the world on Lucha at 8 p.m. So they're doing that, and then so that's the lineup right now. For the collective. So unless they start announcing a bunch of other indies, it's a pretty light collective weekend. I imagine a few more are going to do
all their branded. They're going to have all their branded shows, like you said, the Lucha show. They're doing For the Culture again. You said that,
yeah.
Right?
Effie's. I forgot to mention Effie's brunch will be there too. So more things will be added to this.
So you get the 3 branded shows, you get your Bloodsport, you get your 2 nights of Janela, you get your just straight up Game Changer shows, I'm assuming, at some point without any of the branding or any of the. So yeah, they're pretty packed. And then you toss in Glory Pro and the other promotions that you said. I don't know. I think they're pretty. That sounds like enough to cover the 3 days, right?
So Thursday it's Bloodsport at it's Glory Pro at 11, Bloodsport at 3, Janela Spring Break at 8. So that's Thursday. Friday's pretty open right now. 3 p.m. for the Culture, Gringo Loco's thing at 8 p.m. So they're pretty open on that day. They've before run 11 a.m. to past midnight or whatever.
Yeah.
Janelle obviously is going to be late in the night on that night. Mission Pro right now is at 3 p.m. on Saturday. And there's some other ones like FE, we don't have a date or a time for that one. Unsanctioned Pro, we don't have a date or a time for that one either. We have a date for Unsanctioned Pro, we don't have a time for them as well. So I'd imagine they're going to add a few things here and there. It's a lighter schedule. They could probably add 3 or 4 more shows to kind of do the whole thing. But we'll see what ends up happening there. This is an interesting thing. WrestleCon, which you and I always, when we do the Path of Greatness, we always tend to favor WrestleCon in the sense, and goddamn, this year, if I was going to Dallas, Texas, if you were going to Dallas, Texas, the Fairmount Hotel might be the spot where I just stay the entire day, because you start out Thursday at 5 p.m. with AAA coming to town. AAA.
A straight up AAA show.
AAA, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been to a AAA show. So, when I do Path to Greatness, you want to see things you've never seen before and that you might not ever be able to see again, whether that's wrestlers, promotions. I made sure I guess it was New Orleans a couple of years ago, to go to the Crash, because when else am I going to see a Crash show? You know what I mean? So it's like that would fit under this definition. I mean, so if you do go to Dallas, I don't see how you don't go to the AAA show unless it's going up against something incredible.
I guess Bloodsport would be the only thing it's really kind of going up against that. I would say.
Been there, done that.
I would say if I had a choice, I'm going AAA over Bloodsport, but that's not what you call. We're not in the Path of Greatness yet. 8 p.m. on Thursday of the Mark Hitchcock Memorial Super Show. Those shows are always pretty damn good, at least on paper. Sometimes in practice as well. Sometimes some great matches. Not always like the best shows ever, but like have had some pretty fun stuff throughout.
Sometimes they're a little too long and they can drag a bit, but you're always going to get a good looking lineup.
Then on Friday, you start at 1 p.m. WrestleCon live show, so just kind of the WrestleCon show. They haven't officially announced what this one's going to be branded as or whatever, but it's WrestleCon. 5 p.m. New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
8 p.m. Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good. And then Saturday, you got another WrestleCon show as well at 11.
Yeah, so, these are the big guns.
I think I'm staying at the Fairmount Hotel if I can have a chance. That sounds pretty damn good there. And then, like I said, Gillies is going to have MLW and Control Your Narrative. The Regella.
How many days is?
Right now I only have two. I only have them on Thursday, so I don't know if they're going to add more stuff there. But it looks like Thursday, Control Your Narrative and MLW will be there.
I'm sure they'll run another day.
So unfortunately, you might miss AAA for Control Your Narrative.
No.
No? Okay. All right. Fine. Then
and
just
MLW,
be a part of the narrative. Way to go, Joe. Just be a part of the narrative, then I guess.
They're controlling
it. Control it, Joe.
And I'm sure MLW will be a taping. So
it's a Fusion TV taping.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, as a consumer, that hurts because I know if I really want to see that, I can. I don't have to be there.
Right.
I mean? Anyway.
And then I should mention here, Friday, Supercard of Honor, Ring of Honor coming back from the Curtis Caldwell Center in Garland, Texas, where
Ring of Honor's not dead.
They're like pretty not dead, so good for them.
I mean, we kind of said that. Like, if they said they were coming back in April, why did no one believe them? Like, it's just they're going to come back and they're just going to book guys per show.
I guess there was so many. I thought they were coming back, and then everybody was posting like, photos of them backstage, and everyone's hugging and crying, and leave the memories alone, and what a great time this was, and I'll never forget this moment. And I'm like, this doesn't sound like a company that's coming back, but then they're just gonna come back, I guess. So strange. And then there's a bunch of assorted stuff here. You got Texas style wrestling. They're running in Addison, Texas. Where the hell is Addison, Texas? Is that near?
So these are standalone shows now that you're talking about?
Yes, yeah, these are just random standalone shows here. You got Texas style wrestling in Addison, Texas. You got on Saturday of something called Metroplex that is going to be at Bedford, Texas.
So these must be, these are, I know I'm going to get a text message about this, but these are probably all the Texas promotions that don't get along with New Texas Empire, and they weren't invited. So they're like,
fuck these guys, we're gonna run anyway,
Yeah.
Or the companies that just run their normal shows, and this happens to be the month, and they're like, you know what, screw it.
Remember New York in 2019, I think it was 2019, right? When you came out.
Yes, yeah.
Remember all those North Jersey indies.
They just ran. Yeah, they just ran their shows.
Because it was the weekend and they run. So they just ran their shows. Remember all that?
Yeah,
With Crowbar on top and like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then they were just doing their normal weekly, or monthly fucking show. And then they were branding them as Wrestlemania Weekend because why not? You know what I mean? So if it helped sell a couple more tickets. So you're right. That could be what a lot of this is too. Just the regular, mid-sized to small-sized Texas indies just doing their fucking thing. And it happens that weekend.
01 of America, I believe, is running, or I think Zawa Live. Didn't we find out that Zawa Live was 01 of America last year when they were running? I believe that's the case. But
01. So Shinya Hashimoto
will definitely be there. Yeah,
Carino, the whole gang. Right?
Maybe.
Leonardo, but I think
I
think Spanky Leonardo's been canceled, Rich. So
unfortunately, sorry. Regret to inform the world.
Yeah, but listen, Samoa Joe's a free agent now, and he might be
right.
To 01. So
yeah, they're at something called Cover All Bases in Arlington. It looks like a baseball training center. Maybe get some batting cages so you could go to the show and take some cuts while you're there.
Well, maybe they're bringing in Shinjiro Otani and
yeah.
You know, who knows?
Masato Tanaka, I'm sure, will be working that show.
Bring them all in.
I would just say buy your ticket now, assuming Shinjiro Otani and Masato Tanaka will be there. Just do that.
Now, let me tell you something. If 01 runs a show, I'm going.
Yeah. Fuck yes. Are you kidding?
Make no mistake.
01 of America, 01 USA.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Well, it's time
Chris
to prove
Weiss?
that they're...
Chris Weiss?
Absolutely. Hartley Jackson, you know? It's time to prove the affiliation's real. Bring those guys over.
I agree. I'm down, yeah. Yeah, that'd be fucking awesome. Hell yeah. Then we could say we've seen them twice in a year, you know?
That's right.
Ken Oka, Ken Oka's good. You missed that.
Well, now
okay.
I might not go. Ken Oka.
Shoot. All right. Other ones.
It's like putting Alley Cat on a show.
It makes you really think. Like I said, there's something called Insane Hardcore Wrestling, Iconic Heroes Wrestling Excellence, and then Zello Pro, which is a Midwest indie, Chicago, Milwaukee area. They're coming on Friday from the Regella Theater as well in Fort Worth. So
wait, so are all these shows in the same venue?
Yes,
or?
at the.
Oh, so this is like
again the next level. They don't get along with Texas style wrestling, and they definitely don't get along with New Texas. So that they're in, at this theater, Insane Hardcore Wrestling. Doing
so there's like a building with a bunch of just random indies in it that aren't even necessarily Texas indies.
I don't know anything about Insane Hardcore Wrestling or Iconic Heroes Wrestling Excellence, but I can tell you that Zello Pro is not Texas. They're definitely Midwest. So.
Well, that's interesting. This is like the fake GCW building that we usually get, where it's just like
yes.
It's kind of what we have here.
And then, like I mentioned, something called Southern Junction in Irving, Texas, is holding a bunch of world-class pro wrestling shows.
World-class pro wrestling, yeah, that's a thing.
Not your father's world-class, by the way.
Nah, I get it. Like on local access TV.
Yeah,
and
it's a world class, but it's not the world class.
They actually book a lot of big names. I mean, you'll put it on and they'll be like randomly Lance Archer versus MVP and shit like that. Like it's yeah, I don't know.
I'm looking right now. We have Charlie Haas versus Action Jackson. That's at February 19th.
The Action Jackson, by the way.
Action Jackson, yes. And then something named Khan versus Ricky Reyes. Ricky Reyes. Hell yeah, man.
No, they book names. That world-class revival thing, they do book names.
Oh, they call shows Christmas Star Wars and stuff. All right, good for them.
Yeah, it's...
Disney. Hopefully Disney doesn't find out about that, but good enough, yeah. But they're running Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So you know how we said like some of these other companies are like, we're running our weekend. World Class, they're into it, man. They're like, let's go. We're running WrestleMania Weekend, baby. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, World Class.
That's right.
And then Martinez Entertainment Lucha at the Upper 90 Soccer Center in Arlington. That's on Friday as well. So.
Oh, let me tell you something. What is that going up against anything?
Let's see. So TBD on the time for that, but let's see when other stuff going on Friday. Yeah, I don't know when they're running, but the other big shows on Friday is Gringo Locos The World on Lucha and Impact Wrestling are the other big Friday night shows.
Where is that running?
The Upper 90 Soccer Center in Arlington, Texas.
Arlington.
I know you're a big Martinez Entertainment guy, so
that might be where they ran last time. And I went to that show and
let me see if I can figure out that. I could maybe figure that out, but let's see.
Did they have anything announced for that?
Let's see. Well, they appear to be the ones booking Psycho Clown for WrestleCon, so.
Oh yeah,
I would say there's a pretty good chance.
No, listen.
My man Russell Clown's going to be there, so.
The last time they ran WrestleMania Weekend in Dallas, that show rocked. I had a ton of fun at that show.
Hold on a minute. If this is the show, no, you're going to this show.
I'm telling you, it might be a great show. I'm telling you.
You're going to get Santo. Unfortunately, it's his son. It's Hijo del Santo, but that's okay. That's fine.
What's wrong with El Hijo del Santo?
I'm saying you're going to get Fishman. Unfortunately, you're going to get El Hijo del Fishman, but that's all right. You're also going to get your boy Shocker.
Shocker is working.
Shocker and Ultimo Dragon is working it too. I shit you not. No, not Dragon Kid. No son of Ultimo Dragon announced for Martinez Entertainment on April 1st. I think you're going to that show.
Yeah, and Psycho Clown might be there. Although I would think that they would have announced that by now. Do you think Game Changer got him because it's going head to head with the Game Changer? Oh yeah, he's doing the mask for his hair with.
Oh, that's right. He's on the World of Lucha.
Wagner.
Yeah.
Oh man, what the fuck? I'd rather him be at this show. That sucks. But
Martinez Entertainment. Yeah. That was like your favorite show, Wrestlemania Weekend. That one time you went. So.
No, that show rocked, man, and it was authentic lucha. Like, ring announcer in Spanish. Fucking, I was the only person there. Like me, Rob Viper. And Mark Hitchcock, and that was like we were like the only fucking gringos at the show. It was like it was authentic all the way. It was a tremendous experience, and I would definitely go again. It was a really good show. There was a ton of great talent on it. Humberto Carrillo when he was Ultimo Ninja. That's the show where La Parka almost died right in front of us.
Oh right, yeah.
Pentagon was on that show. The show was loaded. The other dude in NXT, the guy I've been putting over for years, in part of Santos Escobar's crew. Not
DJZ. You're thinking of
no, the other guy. What the fuck is his NXT
Santos Escobar or whatever? Yeah, but
no, the other guy. The other guy.
Shit,
I can't remember his NXT name. I can't think of it.
He's Legado del Fantasma, right?
Yeah, the third guy. What's the third guy's name in his NXT name?
Mendoza. Raul Mendoza.
Raul Mendoza, yeah. But because I don't remember what he was.
How many times did I guess Santos Escobar in the same? I said it like 3 times. I don't know. I kept saying Santos. Are you sure it's Santos Escobar? Yeah.
Because Raul Mendoza, I couldn't remember. I don't remember what he was working as on that show in 2016 or whatever it was. Because he didn't work as Jinzo either. He worked as, or maybe he did work as Jinzo. The point is, that it was a really great show with a lot of great talent, and that Martinez Promotions always loads up their shows with great talent.
So it looks like they were in Benbrook, Texas. So they were not in the same place.
Right.
I don't know where Benbrook, Texas is, but this is not.
Do you have that card or no?
Oh shit! I just closed. 1 second.
That's all right. It's not that.
Do you really want me listing the name of a Lucha Libre card? I don't think you do.
I went to that show at Ghost of Quinones too. That was.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a hell of a crew. Yeah. You had a great crew there.
Let me see. Martinez. Let's see if I can pull this up.
Did you guys drive a few luchadors to the show or no?
No, we thought we were gonna have to, but it ended up we didn't. They all had rides. Oh, here I got it. Here you go. Listen to this fucking. No, that ain't it. Shit, I thought that was the show. Let's see. No, these are from because Violento Jack was on that show.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He was one. I think he was in the match with Parker, right? I thought he was.
I can't remember.
Yeah. Here it's Ultimo Ninja. It was Parka, Ultimo Ninja against Pentagon Jr. and Violento Jack.
Yeah. That's
the match.
That sounds right. Yeah. Yeah. So. Anyway, if you're coming to Texas, I wouldn't sleep on that shit. Make sure you get the lineup, but that has a chance to be one of the better shows of the weekend. They always do a good job.
A Friday in Arlington, man. I mean, maybe post up in Arlington. You got Martinez, you got Texas Mania. You got to get some good stuff there in Arlington. Yeah, it looks like a pretty fun weekend. So far, so good. On Mania Weekend, obviously, we'll keep you updated at voicesofwrestling.com of all the cards and all the new announcements and all that sort of stuff. But I'm pretty pro. WrestleMania Weekend looks fun this year, so we'll definitely see. There's some fun stuff going on here. I think Texas is a pretty good region to have it happen as well. I know for your purposes, you can drive everywhere, which makes you very, very happy. Yes. Who does not like public transportation. You just want to drive from venue to venue, and I think you can do that pretty easily.
Well, if people think they're going to be hopping on fucking trains to go from Arlington,
Texas infrastructure not quite there.
Rent a car. If you either unless you're staying at the WrestleCon hotel and just going to all of their shows, or you're staying wherever Game Changer is and you're going to need a car. Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, a lot of people think you can get away with it. I know that happened recently at All Out where people are just like, oh, I'll just like take public transportation and Ubers everywhere. And I'm like, all right, like Hoffman Estates is very far away from the city. So like you don't, and everybody was stranded. Remember there was all those tweets going out that like half the venue was stranded waiting for Ubers outside of the Now Arena, the former Sears Center, because it's like, yeah, no, it's just like a random suburb with not that much going on. Like you're not going to be able to get a lot of Ubers at, 1 a.m. to go to Hoffman Estates. So yeah, be prepared for that. Rent a car, guys. So,
yeah.
We got to get a rental car sponsorship, and we can put that over. We can talk to a.
Speaking of sponsorships.
Yes, let's do that, Joe. All right. You know what time it is. The big game, Joe, but I don't know if my bookie found some way to do this, if there's some weird thing going on, but we don't have to say the big one. Sunday's big game. It's written right here, Super Bowl. So I'm just going to say it.
It says it on the read.
If my bookie gets sued, that's my bookie's fault, not my fault. Because your team might have missed the big game this year, but not for you, Joe. I was going to say the read is wrong. They don't know I'm doing the show with a Rams fan here.
That's right.
Jeff Hawkins, Shake Them Ropes. It's the Voice of Wrestling Bowl. You got Shake Them Ropes versus the Flagship.
It is.
That's a big game. This is a weird. So I have like very little rooting interest in the NFL, but a lot of times I'll like root for new teams or teams that haven't won in a while or teams that are kind of cool or whatever. I gotta say, this is the first Super Bowl in a long time that I'm like, you know what? Either team, that's fine with me. Like the Bengals have suffered for a long time. That'd be cool for them. The Rams win. That'd be cool too. It's I don't have to root against Brady. I don't have to root. I mean, this is a fantastic Super Bowl here. So, I'm going to say this read, even though it does not apply to you or Jeff Hawkins or any of the Rams fans or any of the Bengals fans. But your team might have missed the big game this year. But my bookie's double deposit bonus makes sure that you won't. With tons of exciting prop bets to choose from, there are hundreds of options to make this your most exciting Super Bowl party yet. And yeah, prop bets are, if you have never seen Super Bowl prop bets, they are another level altogether. There are normal prop bets during a game. What is this guy going to do? What is that guy going to do? How many yards, how many points, how many this, how many, that sort of stuff. And then there's Super Bowl, which is, you can bet, quite literally anything, right? Pretty much.
I'm going to tell you, you want me to give you one prop that I like for
Yeah. What do you got?
Only? I will pull up the exact odds, but it's will Snoop Dogg smoke a blunt on stage at halftime? This is a real prop. Okay.
I got some good ones too. Okay, keep going if you have a few more.
I'm gonna go ahead and read yours. I'm gonna pull up the odds.
These are all on my bookie, by the way. We'll tell you how to get this double deposit bonus in a second. Okay, this one, and I'm very curious where this one they think is coming, but I like it. Will there be a full moon (parentheses bare ass)? Okay.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. (Parentheses bare ass shown). Minus 1,300. Yes. (Parentheses bare ass shown). Plus 550.
Yeah.
You can influence this one. You can go to the Super Bowl, bet the yes, and get out there and run on the field and do your full moon (parentheses bare ass). You just have to hope that the cameras catch it and you don't get tackled immediately. But
yeah, they've pulled a lot of the props, including the will Snoop Dogg smoke a blunt prop.
Oh, but they have a new one though. I got that I think is Snoop Dogg related.
Go ahead.
Will either announcer say faux shizzle?
What are the
minus 500 on no faux shizzles, plus 250 on faux shizzle.
I noticed that they took off all of the props pertaining to because they also had who will be the first performer to speak or sing a word. Dr. Dre, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, Snoop Dogg, or who's the other guy? I can't remember who the other person is. I forget. Yeah. Kendrick Lamar, maybe. Does that make sense?
I don't know. It would make sense. I forgot if he was actually on there. Okay.
There was the Snoop Dogg, will he smoke a blunt prop? There was the will Snoop Dogg be wearing Rams paraphernalia? That was a prop.
Okay.
Will Eminem be wearing a Lions jersey? Was a prop.
Interesting. Okay.
They seem to take them all up, but they do have this one. How many times will Chris Collinsworth say, "Now here's a guy"?
I saw that. I think I'm going to slap that.
So you could take over 5.5 times for plus 125.
I haven't watched a lot of NFL, but when I have watched the NFL, Chris Collinsworth likes that phrase, so I like that one a lot. That's a good bet. There's some real good bets on the low end here. There's one that I think I might throw a couple bucks on. These odds are pretty. I don't know.
See, I wanted to bet no on Snoop Dogg smoking a blunt because I don't think the NFL wants that.
No, that's pretty,
on their air. So he would have to go into business for himself if he was going to do that, which he could do.
He could. He's kind of a corporate guy these days, you know.
But
don't let him fool you. But
the no option was cheap. It was only like minus 170, and I was definitely going to bet that. But it looks like they pulled it. I think they pulled all of the halftime show props because they may have had their rehearsal, and now people might know shit.
Oh, the smart money has come in.
Yeah. So I think that's why the halftime props are now gone. They were there a couple nights ago.
Be a good parlay here. Will the broadcast show Stafford in a Lions jersey? I mean, yeah, right?
Wait, what's that one?
It says, will the broadcast show Stafford in a Lions jersey? I mean, of course they will.
I like that. What's the odds on
Plus
yes?
150 on that.
That might be a good play. Like in a graphic or something?
Yeah, they're of course going to show a graphic of like amount of wins in Lions jersey, you know what I mean? Like amount of playoff appearances, 0, you know what I mean? Like they're going to, of course,
that's
do that
like
graphic.
that's one of the big storylines that they have going on here that he came from. Yeah. So I would think that that's a very good bet. Yeah. For entertainment purposes only.
Of course. Okay.
For units.
Will Jackson Mahomes post a TikTok during the Super Bowl? Everybody hates him, right?
Can't stand him.
Yeah. That's minus 140. So,
yeah.
Over under for NFTs shown during halftime.
Oh, geez.
Wait, the odds are the same no matter what. Over 3.5 is minus 120, and under 3.5 is also minus 120. So, will any halftime performer enter in an Impala? Very specific.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you'd have to play no, right? I mean, you'd have to. What's no? It's got to be long odds.
Yeah, the Impala is plus 130.
Yeah. An interesting one I saw was what song will they open with?
Okay.
And you have to think like what would you think they'd open with? California Love or
probably nothing but a G thing or something like that.
They were all on there. There was like
man, I gotta find
options.
that one. I'm into that.
Yeah, it seems like they pulled that one down too. But you got to be careful with that one because you're going to be tempted to pick one of the big, but they might save that for the
right. They might go next episode is a good choice too because you got a bunch of the guys on it. Yeah, I don't know. It could...
Yeah.
If they go deep cut, they bring Exhibit out. We do what's the difference? You know, why not happen?
And you could bet on the actual game as well.
You can bet, the game as well. You can bet.
I don't know why you'd want to do that.
Yeah, when you got all this shit, why the hell would you bet on the game? But you can do that. So sign up at mybookie.ag now. Use the promo code VOICES to have your first deposit matched instantly, so you can get in on all the action we just described of Super Bowl 56. Man, I hope they got this cleared. For the record, this is what we're reading. This is what MyBookie gave us. NFL, don't sue us. Sue MyBookie. The only way watching the biggest game of the year could get any better is to get paid doing it, and MyBookie gives you everything you need to do it. From betting the opening coin toss to the length of the national anthem, Super Bowl prop bets are a great way for the entire party to get some skin in the big game. And now with MyBookie, they're giving you the chance to call your own shot by submitting, here we go, submitting your own Super Bowl prop bet to be featured on the site for the big game. All you have to do is comment on the MyBookie Twitter account, which is at MyBookie, to get your prop bet featured. So go to the MyBookie, at MyBookie on Twitter, and give them your wild prop bet there. So we've brought up a few right there that would be pretty good. They took down the blunt one, but maybe you can get that one back up. But don't miss out. Head to mybookie.ag and double your first deposit up to $1,000 using that promo code VOICES. Place your bet and get ready for the unmatched excitement of the Super Bowl. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
You know, they have these adjustable props too, like for example, passing yards at least. Okay, so the line for Joe Burrow is 278 at minus 114. But if you don't like that number, you can drop it to 268 And then, you're going to pay more of a premium. It's minus 333. Or you can jack it up. If you think Burrow's going to have a big game, you can move it to like 348 and you get plus 166 on that. So you can do that for like any player for any stat. Same thing like rushing yards. You can grab, Cam Akers or Joe Mixon and, they have the line where it's set, but then you can move the line. It's going to move your odds, but you can set the line wherever you want.
Okay, that's cool.
So there's a million ways to bet the Super Bowl and get creative with it. I saw this wasn't on MyBookie, and this is no longer part of the ad read.
No,
so
that is done. MyBookie.ag, promo code VOICES, double your first deposit, Super Bowl. Okay, done.
Okay, so let me tell this story. I saw on Twitter the other day, I don't know what site it was on, but somebody found a Super Bowl prop bet, and it said, I want to make sure I get this right. It was, it was over under on total number of players that will complete a pass. And the number was set at 2.5. So basically you're betting on, will there be a third player that will complete a pass? A punter, a backup quarterback.
Right. Somebody gets hurt, maybe you got to bring another guy in. Okay.
Right. But it was one of these adjustable lines where you can move it around. And I guess they let it slip through the cracks. And
people put 2.
The bettor was able to move it to 1.5.
Whoa, no.
And he got the bet because that's a lock. I mean, because you're going to get, both quarterbacks.
I would assume that both quarterbacks will throw a pass at some point, yes.
So they fucked up and he adjusted it down to 1.5 and he put big money on it. And the tweet that I saw, and I'm going to try to find it, said that they took it, but then they took they accepted his bet. They're honoring his bet, which I'm surprised that they're honoring it. But then they pulled the prop down.
Oh, yeah. They don't have to honor that. They could really. I mean, it's gambling. You know what I mean? Like everybody, you could just take it away and say, "Fuck."
Are you kidding me? I know of people in New Jersey who they've done so well. They're not allowed to bet. These sports books do whatever they want.
Right? Yeah, exactly. They run the show here. Yeah, it's not fair. No, it's not fair. No, it's not because they run the fucking show. And if you don't like it, well, they have some guys you can meet that'll possibly convince you that what they.
In New Jersey, you have to have like the card and you have a number, and like these guys are getting capped at like $50 bets now, and these are big time gamblers, and so they have to use other people to put bets for them. Yeah, these books will fuck you over. So I'm very surprised that they're honoring that guy's action on that bet because whatever he bet, I hope he bet everything he had in his bank account on that. Basically,
right? Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's free money, so I'll try to find that tweet. But yeah, my bookie has all kinds of adjustable fucking lines and shit like that. But I'm not going to bet on any of it because I'm too invested. So I can't have the stress of worrying about winning the game on top of the stress. Now, if that blunt play comes back up, I'm playing that because I do not think Snoop Dogg is going to light a blunt during halftime. I think that was easy money at minus 170, but we'll see. My bookie had odds on who Tony Khan's mystery man was going to be tonight.
I saw that. Yeah.
They pulled it down earlier today, but it was up all week. And I'm curious because now don't tell me anything.
Okay.
But then word came out that there might be 2 mystery people on the show. And I'm curious if my bookie is going to pay that out if there were 2 mystery people on the show and they were both among those choices.
Right.
So I know at the time Keith Lee was the favorite. He was like plus 110. But they had Will Ospreay, Jay White, Johnny Gargano, Athena,
Stan Lane.
Sean McMahon. That's what it said.
Sean McMahon. Okay. But did they think they couldn't call him Shane, or that was just an error? That
I think it was a typo. It said Sean McMahon, and he was like plus 2,500 or something. But they pulled that down too. So if you do have a MyBookie account, or if you sign up for one, always check that wrestling tab because there's always all kinds of wrestling shit.
And you guys are pretty close to smart money. If you're a listener to the Flagship Podcast, you're pretty smart. Yeah, you're pretty smart.
Yeah. Like I've won a lot of wrestling bets on pay-per-view matches. Like I remember I won on Moxley versus Kojima. Like if you're a wrestling fan, you know that there was 0% chance Kojima was winning that match. So I just put my whole bankroll on Moxley. And shockingly, Rich, I still sat there and sweated it out. Like
you gotta, yeah, you never know.
Like when you have that much money on it, it's like, oh God, would Tony Khan do something crazy here? You know what I mean? But then it's like, all right, there's the fucking whatever he calls the DDT. He calls it different things in different companies. Whatever he calls the fucking gimmick. What does he calls DDT in AEW?
The Death Rider or something. No, that's a New Japan.
Paradigm Shift. Paradigm Shift. Death Rider is Japan.
Yeah. I only know the Death Rider because it's a cool name. So.
And then there's Paradigm Shift, and then what did he call it in WWE? Fucking
I'm dumb. I'm sure. I don't remember. Maybe it was the Paradigm Shift.
We are not the moves guys.
No, we're not the moves guys. I know Death Rider, and that's all I'm going to know. So at least I got one out of it. But nice plug for the NFL Intelligentsia as well. FlagshipPatreon.com. You and Jesse previewing the Super Bowl, where you get Joe's very bizarre way that he watches the Super Bowl, not just this year, but every year.
You think that's bizarre?
Well. I mean, for some people, they would consider it bizarre. I don't necessarily think so. I mean, I've done that for many times. If I don't get an invite, I'm like, cool, I'll just watch it by my own. I don't care. So,
I mean, I would go to a Super Bowl party if the Rams weren't in the game.
Yeah. Okay. I see.
But if the Rams are in the game,
oh God, no. If it's your team, forget that.
I'm not watching with casuals. Are you kidding? They're going to say dumb things and piss me off.
Especially the Super Bowl, man. I have a family member that invites us to and I don't even care that much about football, you know what I mean? But like I go and like most of the people there have like zero clue, and they're like knitting as the Super Bowl is going on and stuff. And like,
yeah,
it's a rough watch. With like super uber casuals, it's tough. Like if a bunch of my friends invited me over, yeah, I'll go to their house and watch it or whatever. But like uber casuals, that's tough. They're talking the whole time. If you really want to watch the football game, which clearly you do with your team in it, like you can't go with casuals who are like, oh, turn the commercial. Oh, is that a Doritos commercial? They're talking about the commercials. Like, shut the fuck up. I don't care. They're like, oh, I think the Budweiser commercial was better than the Doritos commercial. Shut up. Like,
or just making uninformed comments about your team while they're playing.
And you don't have the time to correct them. There's no time for that. You know?
No. And it would just be irritating. So I can't. Are they a terrible passing team or what? And it's like, you haven't watched the game all year. Stop talking.
Right, please. You're
pissing me off. I couldn't imagine. So no, that'll be a solo endeavor on Sunday
for sure. But, NFL Intelligentsia, $5 tier, flagship Patreon.
We went 2.5 hours the other day.
Damn. Well, yeah, there's a lot to talk about Super Bowl, man.
And broke down the conference championship games, and then we previewed the Super Bowl. And then, of course, because it's me, we did like an hour on fucking off-topic bullshit. We broke down Bob Ryan's teeth. So there's a little teaser.
Ooh,
Bob Ryan.
I into that. I've interviewed Bob Ryan before, so
we brought that up. I knew you were going to name.
Hopefully you were nice. Hopefully you're nice to my man Bob Ryan.
We just said how he's got gnarly teeth, but at that age, who cares?
Yeah, right. He's Bob Ryan. Who gives a shit? Yeah.
Why would you go to the dentist at that age? Like, who
No.
gives a shit? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you lived your life.
Yeah,
like,
he's earned that.
that.
He's earned that for sure.
I don't want to go to the dentist now, let alone when I'm 80. It's a horrible experience. So, I can't blame him for having his fucking, his teeth. He has the teeth of like, remember Doink's fucking midgets at the Survivor Series?
Yes.
Remember that one with the fucking pointy yellow teeth? Like, look at that
Oh,
guy's
yeah,
teeth.
which I think that was
Stink.
I think it was Stink, but I don't remember which
Two
one.
in the stink, one in the pink, or whatever the fuck his name was.
Yeah, I think it was Stink that had the terrible teeth.
Terrible teeth. That's like Bob Ryan's teeth at this stage. He looks like fucking Stink or whatever clown that was.
Yeah, I forget which one it was, but yeah, it was. I think Stink was the one.
Were those the same guys that Lawler used as his fucking little midget kings running around? I bet they were.
I think a few of them were. I don't know that all of them were.
Not Dink, obviously, because that's Tiger.
Yeah, that's Tiger Jackson, who rules, by the way. Tiger Jackson's awesome. But as far as minis go, he's pretty damn good.
He was the very prominent one for sure.
Recently appeared on a Spring Break not that long ago. So.
Did he he did. Yeah, he was biting asses and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that.
I think one of them.
We don't have a lot of topics left.
One of them was Little Louie. That was Queasy. I've been able to find that out. I'm desperately. I know these are the ones I know off the top of my head, and I'm desperately trying to figure out who these other men were. Okay, Cheesy. We do not know who Cheesy was. Queasy was. I just said that right. Oh, Little Louie, and we don't know who Sleazy was either.
That must have been the one with the teeth.
Yeah, so that was the Royal Family versus the Clowns R Us.
Oh, so
they couldn't have faced each other. Yeah, they couldn't have faced each other.
That's a dumb mistake.
But Pink was a man called Mighty Doom, also known as Pink.
All right.
And then Wink was Bad Boy Buck.
Let me see if I can pull up the teeth on either one of these.
Also known as Tadpole. You can't. I just checked.
Oh, there's no Bad Boy Buck? Ah, man. I'm giving it a shot anyway.
Go for it, yeah.
I got a 1999
Oh,
match.
I think it's this man. No, dude, it's definitely. Oh no, these are some decent looking teeth.
On which guy? Bad Boy Buck?
This is Bad Boy Buck, yeah.
He's got some matches on YouTube.
Oh yeah, there you go.
You can watch Bad Boy Buck versus Joe Kidd from 1999.
Okay.
He doesn't look like the guy with the gnarly teeth.
No, I don't. I'm looking at his. Unless he's gotten teeth done, he looks like he's got pretty normal teeth. So
yeah, it must be the other guy. All right.
Stink.
Good for Bad Boy Buck.
Yeah. All right. There you go. It is.
He's on Cage Match, Bad Boy Buck.
Yeah. He's got a bunch of stuff there.
4'8", 141. Sturdy fella.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? He's a sturdy fella.
He's a sturdy fella for sure.
4'8", 141.
That's solid.
He's also worked as Tadpole Buck. So there you go. He doesn't have anything after 09. So
I had somebody that wanted to bring me to there's like a minis show around here, and I didn't really want to go because like I and it's probably okay, but I don't want to go because I know like everyone's just gonna be there laughing the whole time, and the people that invited me were like casual wrestling fans, and I thought about like, would I ruin it by being like guy who talks about the in-ring work of the minis type of guy?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to harsh the vibe where everyone's like, oh, and I'm like, that guy's a pretty good worker. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a good Hurricane Rana. I mean, laugh all you want. That's a pretty good Hurricane Rana. So, you know, I don't want to be that guy. So I did not go to the show.
Did you know this? Did you know that following that Survivor Series, they did Pink and Wink versus Cheesy and Queasy around the loop?
Whoa, really? Huh.
Yeah. How about that? I mean, yeah, they went on the road with that tag match. I guess Cheesy got left out in they didn't bring Cheesy. It was Pink and Wink versus Queasy and Sleazy. So they didn't book Cheesy, and obviously Dink was getting booked with Doink. So for some reason they didn't like Cheesy. They went with Queasy and Sleazy, and they faced Pink and Wink on the loop following that Survivor Series. I had no idea they took those guys on the road, at least for one tour.
Wow, yeah.
So in Sacramento, was it the opener? No, they worked in the middle of the card. They worked right before Diesel Bob Backlund for the title. Interesting. And you know what? I'm looking at these cards. No Doink, no Dink. That's unbelievable.
Wow.
They took Pink and Wink versus Queasy and Sleazy on the
on
road.
the road without...
While Doink and Dink had like the month off. Isn't that weird?
That is weird. Yeah, they weren't like really accomplished wrestlers either, so that's kind of strange. Whereas, you know, you understand Doink and Dink at that time. You know, yeah, they're you know, Dink is a long time mini. You know, wrestled all over the world, and Doink at that time was, I think, Apollo, right? Wasn't that Ray Apollo? At that point,
that time, I don't know who it was, but whoever it was yeah.
I think it was Apollo. But yeah, it's kind of crazy that those guys got the month off, and Dink, Stink and Pink and Wink and Tink and all are wrestling all over the loop. So good for them.
How about this show in the Meadowlands? Aldo Montoya versus Steven Dunn. Henry O. Godwin versus Bob Holly. Pink and Wink versus Cheesy and Queasy. Duke the Dumpster Droese versus Timothy Well. Wow. Bull Nakano versus Alundra Blaze. Diesel versus Jeff Jarrett. Undertaker versus Tatanka.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Bret Hart versus Owen Hart.
Okay. Oh, thank God. I was like, man.
Yeah. And we also had Lex Luger and the British Bulldog versus Bam Bam and King Kong.
Oh, a little allied powers.
If Bret Hart and Owen Hart wasn't on that show.
Yeah, what a brutal show that is.
But at least you get to see Bull Nakano, I guess.
Yeah.
What a horrible show. Oh, my God.
Yeah, things got kind of rough there in 94, 95. So.
Yeah. Let's see if Nassau got the same show. Yup, same lineup. Same lineup.
It's so egregious, too. Like, imagine it, like, cause thankfully there weren't, like, super fans like there are today, like, as much. So there probably was nobody that went to both, but, like, today...
I was just going to say that there was definitely people who went to both.
You
like
think? I don't think so. I think that's, like,
your
a
newsletter readers in the New York area, I think they did. Oh, yeah.
To WWF 1994 house shows?
Yes, Rich, I've been deep diving message boards for Jovember to Remember, like old archived, not even message boards. What the like news groups?
Yeah,
and
like
shit
like news groups on internet news groups and whatnot. Yeah,
you'd be stunned what I'm unearthing. In fact, you could find out by subscribing to voiceofwrestling.com/Patreon, $5 tier, Jovember to Remember, because I'm going to work a lot of that into the shows coming up. But yeah, man, I guarantee you there are people who went to both of those shows and then wrote into Meltzer and Keller to complain that they got the same show.
Timothy Well versus
yeah. There's one show here where it was Wink versus Cheesy, so somebody needed the night off and they went with a singles match.
God, just take it off the show. Nobody needs that.
Wink versus Cheesy.
A main event in any building, including the Nassau Coliseum, apparently. So,
yeah,
man, wow. All right. Let's we'll get some retro stuff. If you're into retro wrestling, you're gonna get that at the end of the show here. But we'll take a brief break here to go over Dragongate, Triple H's favorite promotion, the late Triple H's favorite promotion, Dragonsgate.
Yes.
I think he tweeted the other day though, right?
Yeah.
It was like
allegedly.
the most generic. Like, let me see what it was.
No. They went to a play.
He went to Hamilton and said, "Absolutely awesome show with so much talent."
Yes.
3 exclamation points. So.
Allegedly,
yes.
Why is there no Mark pic with the Cavs?
Yeah, I know exactly.
Why is there no pic with his lovely wife with his arm around her?
Yeah.
Very mysterious.
Awesome show.
Yeah.
Who sees Hamilton now? Like, who just saw Hamilton? I guess he's been busy. He's been busy the past few years. He's got some time to really.
He got nothing to do now.
Probably watching his Dragon's Gate and watching his Hamilton. So good for him. But
isn't Hamilton still crushing it though?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm sure. Again, if any human hasn't seen Hamilton yet, now you're probably in like people watching it at their 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th time. You know what I mean? Like the people that were going to see it are probably going back and seeing it again now because it's been so long that they.
Some of those shows run like Cats ran for like 30 years.
Oh yeah.
So,
Great if you can get that for sure. There's always new people coming to town. There's always new people visiting and whatnot. Or like I said, people that saw it 4 years ago and said, "Fuck it, let's go see Hamilton again."
Yeah. Like you grew up in Chicago, but growing up in New Jersey, we would get commercials for Broadway shows because we lived right there, and we got all New York stations. That Cats commercial, and they never updated the commercial.
It's the
so
same
we were
one.
getting.
Yeah, well, we got a cat. Don't worry, we had a Cats performance here that played for a long time too.
Yeah, but it was like they ran the Cats commercial from 1982 until like 1997. Like the same. Like there's no way it was even the same cast anymore. But they were running the same commercial for fucking Cats and all these other shows. So I don't know, but yeah, I would have been more comfortable with accepting that Triple H saw that show if he took a picture or something.
Yeah, him dressed up, Stephanie in her best, all there watching Broadway, hanging out, getting that would have been great, but we didn't get that.
Yeah.
But Dragon's Gate, a lot of stuff going on in his promotion here. We have a new unit, Joe. RED is no more. Out with RED, in with Z-Brats. Are you into Z-Brats?
I mean, I've been watching the Dragongate as we've been doing this show, and I'm right now currently watching the Kai versus not
FKA Cyberkong. Yeah,
what the fuck is his name now? Yoshida.
Yeah.
So I'm wrapping up my catch up here. Z-Brats, yeah, I don't know. Their colors are yellow and black, so I like the color scheme. Who are the members? Am I going to get spoiled on some? It's okay.
No. I think all the members were established at the beginning. It's pretty much the same as RED.
So there's no angle after this title
match?
No,
you're not. Nothing that's going to. I'm not going to spoil anything that's going to happen here.
But there is an angle because let me just say this: there's no chance on earth I'd watch a Kai versus Yoshida. So there better be an angle.
Stick with it. You'll
okay.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, you could probably, if you want to, you could turn it off. It's up to you. You got to go in anyway. Just let it run.
Yeah, I'm going to let it run. It's almost over. So
who are the Z-Brats is Hyo, SB Kento, BB Hulk, Diamante, Kai, and Shun Skywalker. So Shun Skywalker, obviously the big part of the new Z-Brats, and that's why RED no more because Shun Skywalker is in there. A few other guys we'll talk about have left. So it's a lot of the RED guys plus Shun Skywalker. They are now the Z Brats. So
yeah, because Masquerade is no more.
Masquerade at the show is no more, because Doi is rounding up the troops for one of his new units as well. I don't know if we have an official name for that unit yet, but so far it's Kota Minoru, who on that show that you're watching, the Korakuen from this week, accepted Doi's offer. Doi and Kaito Ishida is in Doi's new unit as
They're
well.
still building it.
Yes, and Jason Lee, who is Minoru's partner, not all the way into it yet. He has watched his Dragon's Gate tapes and goes, I'm not shaking that motherfucker's hand. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Doi's turning on me for sure. Screw you. I'm not joining your unit, bro. Like, so so far he is unaffiliated. La Estrella also unaffiliated right now. So we're
in the middle of the shakeup still. Yeah.
So a bunch of shakeups going on here. Dragon Daya and Yoshiaka unaffiliated as well. And they're gonna team together now in the future. So the used to be Dragon Daya and whatever, and they're gonna be teaming now.
Dragon Daya came back on one of the last month's shows without the mask. He's got a skateboard like he's Cora Jade, and he is fucking collecting belts. He beat SB Kento on that show when he came back as the big surprise, and then the next night in Korakuen, Dragon Daya and Yoshioka won the Twin Gate titles too. So big push for him when he returns unmasked. He wins belts on back-to-back nights, and they don't have a unit yet either, right?
No, they're unaffiliated right now.
So a lot of this still has to shake out. Now, what I love is Shun Skywalker is still wearing the Masquerade shit.
Yes, like which Ho Lun pointed out. He goes, why is he still wearing purple if he's in RED? And then he came out later and he's still wearing purple with the Z-Brats. And Ho Lun's like, why is he still wearing purple? So
I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah, because it's
crazy. That's why.
Yeah, and it works in the story. It's not him being lazy. It's not Dragongate saying, sorry, pal, we didn't make you new pants yet. Shun Skywalker hasn't let it go. He's like still kind of thinking. Yes. It's like, bro, it's over. Like, you made it over. Like, it's over because of you. What are you doing? It's over, man. Like, it's done. But that's a great story they're doing there. Yeah. So if you didn't catch that, if you're watching Dragongate and wondering, man, why is Shun Skywalker? He looks like an idiot. He's wearing purple or whatever. That's part of the story, is that he still can't quite let go, even though he's the reason it all just got destroyed.
It's also just his descent into madness.
Yeah.
I mean, he was going crazy towards the end there. The match where they did the turn, well, they did the turn in the post match, but the match where they did the turn, they wouldn't even tag with him. Like, he would try to tag out, and neither guy would want to even tag. Like, they want nothing.
Yeah, their backs turned to him and stuff. So
because he's gone progressively crazier and crazier, and then after the match, he joins, RED at the time, who hadn't changed their name or disbanded yet, or kicked the other guy, Aita, and the other guy out. So then he joins, RED, and then they turn on Aita, but he's still rocking the Masquerade aesthetic,
right?
Because he's fucking nuts. Like, he's been so interesting throughout this whole thing, because he's just, and I don't know necessarily that whatever his final form is going to be is done, because he's just unstable and he's crazy. And, you just don't know what movie he's going to make, especially since there's so many other people who haven't really shaken out. So, I don't know if this is his permanent destination.
That's the vibe that I got right now from Dragongate, and obviously listen to Open the Voice Gate on the Voice Wrestling Podcast Network, because they'll break this down extensively as well. The idea that I have is a lot of these units still feel untenable. Like Z-Brats feels untenable. It feels like a lot of people that aren't going to get along long term. You have no idea where Shun Skywalker is going to go. Like, yeah, he'll eventually embrace them, but do you really trust that guy in the long term? Like, probably not. You probably shouldn't. Kai is, quote unquote, the leader of Z-Brats, but I mean, man, with SB Kento there, like, it seems like that's not going to last forever. So it feels like a very interesting thing right now in Dragongate, where yes, there is these new units, but none of them feel no unit really feels safe right now in Dragongate. Maybe Natural Vibes, but even that is feeling like it probably has outlived its usefulness. And I guess High End is
they're like the new Jimmies, where they just never go.
Yeah, they're fine. Like, High End is at some point you assume High End is going to go, but they might just be stable enough, because it's just like dudes that just there's not as much thing with high end. They're just a bunch of guys that just go out and wrestle. You know what I mean? Like there's not as much stuff, but yeah, Zebrats feels very untenable at this point.
Well, even the new Doi thing where he brought these guys together, it's like
it's
he's
Doi.
not. It's Doi, but it's like he's not really the leader. Minoura is, so there's kind of like instability there at the top too.
Yeah, well, and he's breaking up a tag team with this unit too, because Jason Lee is like, I don't know if I really want to join this thing, and Doi's other the Minoura is like, yeah, sure, I'll join. Sounds great. It sounds awesome. Let's do it. So that's that makes it untenable too.
But the younger guys are all being positioned as like the maybe not necessarily the leaders right now, but the true leaders. It's all very still unsettled right now with all of this. The match just ended, so I'm watching Kai talk shit to Yoshida. They're shooing him out of the ring. So what am I going to get? A challenger here? Is that what's going to happen?
Honestly, I don't remember. I watched it a few days ago, so I don't remember.
Diamante rules. Like he came back, and I love the way that guy carries himself. I love the way that he wrestles. They've got themselves a nice find with him.
Oh yeah. And as a body guy, he's got a nice build. You know what I mean?
I guess here Shun is wearing he doesn't have the mask.
I think he did eventually get the Z thing. But again, it feels untenable. Again, is the best way I could say it.
Yeah, he's full Z-Bratz gear here.
Okay. Maybe he just needed he needed an official thing to say, all right, no, never mind. Now I got something.
So we got the title celebration. Fast forward.
Joe watches Dragongate from 6 days ago live.
What's going on? So, oh God, we're getting a CyberCon promo.
I may have turned it off after. I don't remember.
Now he's hitting the bricks. Who's this now? It looks like Doi is in the ring.
This
His
is terrible
boys.
radio. I'm not doing this anymore.
This is fantastic radio. I don't know what you're
awful.
saying. So now I have to watch this because I got these. I got this note from Case Lowe. He says, "Look, you gotta. The post match is more important than the match. So I want to see what happens here. Am I gonna have to bury Case if nothing happens here?
I'm trying to remember. Maybe I closed out before I finished it. So
maybe because now it's Doi in the ring with his new dudes, and obviously I can't understand what they're saying.
No, you do not. Japanese, nor also you're muted.
And there's only like a minute left in the file, so if something's going to happen here, it needs to. Are they going to invite Yoshida into their group?
Oh, never mind.
Is that what happens?
Not necessarily. He invites himself into the group, and they disagree.
Oh, and they're like, "No, you stay."
Yeah, I remember that now. He's like, "Yeah, I think I'm ready for your group," and they were just like, no.
That was probably hilarious banter if you understood.
Yes,
Japanese.
yeah. He was just like, I think he said something about I'm macho, I deserve a place, and they're like, no, no.
All right, I won't be.
And then I think he's just very upset. I think he's just like very depressed about it.
He storms out. He storms out.
He's like, "Hey, I am more than happy to join your new unit," and they're like, "Ooh, about that."
No.
Yes. So here's what. So what had happened was, no, I mean, we don't really want you.
Yeah, so there you go.
Case says the post match was intended to be watched with audio, ideally. So you let Case down by now.
We picked up the gist of it.
Got it there, yeah.
We picked up what they were laying down, so we got the idea. Anyway, so so he's another guy without a home then too.
Yeah. A lot of people need homes. So should be a lot of fun. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on Dragongate moving forward as well. But open the voice gate. You want to listen to extensive Dragongate thoughts. Also, Voices of Wrestling on Case Lowe, the aforementioned Case Lowe, reviews every major Dragongate show.
It's time to push Ben K again. It's been
I'm
a while.
I'm with you, man.
He's got to get rid of that haircut though. He's got like the Pete Rose bowl cut.
It's not a great haircut. Yeah,
he's got to get like a mohawk or something and look badass again. I don't like the haircut.
There was the weird bald period where I did not like, but then he had that badass haircut for a while, man. It was just like kind of a crew cut, but not. I forget exactly how to describe it, but it looked good. It was like, yeah, that's a world champion, and he
doesn't look cool now.
No, he does not. He does not.
That could be by design, since he was been depushed a little. Maybe it's like we don't want you to look too cool, but he's gonna have to get a new haircut.
Right, time for Ben K to be cool again. I think.
No doubt about it. Yeah, No, he's got a terrible haircut right now. What do we got left on this?
We got 2 retro topics, but before that, Joe, I do need to let you know that support for the Flagship Podcast is brought to you by our friends at Manscaped. Yes, Manscaped is back. They're the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. They offer precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped recently launched the ultimate men's hygiene bundle, the Performance Package. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, Flagship listeners. 20% off and free worldwide shipping there with the code FLAGSHIP20 at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, because they said 4 million men, all that sort of stuff, that's 8 million balls, Joe, that have been shaved by Manscaped. The Performance Package 4.0, and it's an absolute game changer. You get the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, a brand new lawnmower from the folks at Manscaped. The Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer. And let me tell you, Joe, when that thing arrived, I opened that box up. I went, okay, new trimmer, the ball deodorant. We'll talk about that in a sec. I saw that ear, nose, and hair trimmer. Instantly unwrap that thing, working on the ear.
Does it work good?
It works great. Yeah, I hate nose hair.
I haven't unwrapped it. It's good?
I hate nose hair. It annoys me. I yank it out. It hurts so much. I hate nose hair, and I trimmed all that shit. It's gone. It's good. We're ready to go. Oh.
I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna use that tonight.
Yeah, ear hair, annoying, shaved off, gone. Get out of here.
Yeah,
no time for any of that stuff. So
that's pesky. The ear hair. You try to get in there with a straight razor. You always nick yourself.
Oh, it's a disaster. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah. But yeah, so the Lawnmower 4.0. Don't get me wrong, very good. Enjoyed that. Have used it now. Very good. The Crop Preserver ball deodorant, great. The Crop Reviver toner. The boxer briefs, literally wearing them as we speak. The boxer briefs, travel bag to hold your goodies, all that stuff. Good. That Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, I'm telling you, an absolute game changer. So there you go. You get all that stuff. Advanced skin safe technology, waterproof, LED spotlight on the Lawnmower 4.0, also waterproof, so you could say goodbye to that mess on the bathroom floor. You can do it in the shower as well. So again, 20% off plus free shipping with the code flagship20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Just make sure you use that promo code flagship20. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. There you go.
That's a floor mat, that thing, to catch the hairs?
Wait, what?
I never put that together. You said you put the floor mat down to catch.
No. I just said it's waterproof. There's no floor mat. What floor mat are you talking about?
Oh, because it comes with like that newspaper gimmick, but I think it's just a gimmick.
Yeah, I mean, you could certainly use it that way. You could use the.
I just thought that because TLB gets mad at me because she's in there. She's like, all your ball hairs on the floor. She's sweeping, But if that thing acts as a mat, then that,
Yeah, no, but it's waterproof. I said the trimmer's waterproof, so you just do it in the shower. Just shave those balls in the shower, man. What are you doing?
That was a terrible TLB impression. First of all, that sounded nothing like her.
Yeah.
Second of all, I don't think she's ever said the F word.
Oh, she's a good girl?
No. She says other words.
Oh, okay. But not that word.
Like, she would never say, like, fucking, like someone from Jersey, like I just did.
I see. Okay.
Fucking hairs on the ground. Like, yeah, no. So that was a terrible impression of her all around. But
I like the idea of her sweeping up your ball hair as if there's enough to...
That happens, though.
That happens. To sweep up.
She's in there sweeping up the hairs. Yeah,
I won't lie. I get in trouble for some hair stuff. She's just like, why is there hair everywhere? And I'm like, I don't know. It's impossible to keep track of this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a very hairy man, There's only so many things I can do. All right. Anyway, anniversary. One of the biggest events in wrestling history, Joe. 34 years ago last week. Yes, we have to go from last week because we're so out of topics, but this is an important one. 34 years ago, Joe, 33 million people watched professional wrestling on a Friday night. Can you believe that?
I can.
By the way, there was other things on TV.
Yes, there was.
Movies existed. During those times, people went out to eat in 1989 or 1988, I should say.
88.
Yeah. We'll get to 89. There's somebody. Well, but still, regardless of all those other factors playing into it, 33 million people decided I'm going to watch the main event on NBC. This was a spinoff of Saturday Night's Main Event. It was on a Friday night. Drew a Nielsen rating of 15.2 and 33 million viewers, records for American televised wrestling.
Yeah.
All for the big Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant match. Well, a rematch of WrestleMania 3. And I mean, honestly, one of the more iconic moments and matches in wrestling history. I mean, if you've never seen it, it's fucking great. It's like one of the greatest angles of all time, one of the greatest moments of all time. The crowd is molten hot the entire time. If you've never seen this, for whatever reason, you're listening to this and you go, yeah, the main event, yeah. Really, I mean, this is like, you have to watch this, right? You can't be a wrestling fan and not have seen this match.
No, you have to see this, yeah. This is double or Hugners.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen it here, spoiler alerts for a 34-year-old match, but Andre the Giant defeats Hulk Hogan because a Hebner walked into the ring, and it was not Dave Hebner. It was Earl Hebner. But I think, didn't the story for a while, I think, was that Ted DiBiase was so rich he paid for a man to get a facelift to look like Dave Hebner? Isn't that what it was?
Correct. He paid for a man to get plastic surgery.
And then that man ends up looking like Dave Hebner, which is a rough go. I mean, no offense to Dave Hebner, but like,
yeah,
it had to be a pretty penny from the $1 Million Man to make myself look like Dave Hebner. But
right, that was the story, though. It was that Ted DiBiase paid a man. Yeah, pretty ridiculous.
That did not. I think they eventually said that wasn't the case, right?
Well, eventually, like anything else, it just was forgotten, and there were and Dave Hebner went into the office, and Earl Hebner was like Dave and Earl. Dave wasn't a referee after that, or much longer after that. I don't know when he stopped refereeing. He may have not been.
I think that was it. I honestly think that was it for him.
Because Earl was working for Crockett.
Right.
And they hired Earl to do this angle. And then I think that was it for Dave, or was it for Dave shortly thereafter. And then Earl was a referee from that point forward. But like for the rest, obviously, they didn't try to say he just became Earl Hebner. It wasn't some guy who got plastic surgery to look like Dave Hebner after a certain point. So
it says here, so I'm looking at the WWF Magazine used a fictional backstory to build sympathy for Dave by claiming he was continually victimized by Earl's evil misdeeds committed in Dave's name since their childhood. So they got rid of the plastic surgery thing and then just said, okay, sorry, that's just his twin. His twin is evil and does things. Yeah. He does evil things in the name of Dave Hebner, which is interesting. But I didn't even realize this too. It says here, Earl came clean and he was the referee when Randy Savage won the tournament final at WrestleMania 4. Did they plan that, or did that just happen, or like, I don't know. I guess at that time they did think about things, so maybe they did actually.
They did, but they also just conveniently forgot stuff too.
Yeah, right. I don't think that like him counting the pin for Randy Savage at WrestleMania 4 was him definitively putting the $1 Million Man behind him and moving to the good world or whatever. Because I think he just became a referee pretty quickly thereafter.
Yeah.
But I like that idea if that was actually the plan, but. That was the main event. Again, if you have never seen that, absolutely have to go watch it. It is on Peacock. It's on WWE Network. Make sure you go watch the main event. One of the hottest crowds you'll ever see. These people that you get these people all the time that'll be at some show and take like, a video and be like, whoa, the pop for Liv Morgan. It's like, that's not a pop. Like,
yeah,
that's 2,000 people cheering. Like, that's not a pop. Like, go watch the main event if you want a fucking pop. Like, the Market Square Arena is rocking the entire time. It is literally about to destroy and implode on itself because the crowd is going so nuts the entire time.
And I've heard bigger Hogan pops during that era too.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even like the biggest Hogan pop. Like, you got to go to like 1986 Boston Garden house shows and you will hear thunderous Hulk Hogan pops. I'm looking at this now. This has to be the most viewed WWF match of all time, right? Because 33 million people watched it live.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the match peaked higher than that because that 33 million is the average for the show. So I'm sure there was a minute during that match where there were maybe 50 million people watching,
probably.
Right?
Yeah, probably.
Because as soon as the match was over, I'm sure everybody turned it off. And I'm sure, with Savage and I can't remember Savage and Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah, it wasn't the main event, by the way. They had another match after it.
Well, Strike Force and Heart Foundation, but what happened was they ran out of time and it was only part it signed off before that match was over.
Yeah.
But Savage and Honky Tonk Man, I can't remember.
That was before. That was before the
that opened the show.
Yeah, that opened it. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sure that match was well below the 33 million. And it built up to I'm sure Andre Hogan peaked way higher than 33 million. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And then the
for
average for the so that without question would have to be the most viewed WWF match of all time, because then you toss in the people who have watched it over the years. No other match peaked that high with viewership, obviously. And the Andre Hogan WrestleMania 3 match, okay, let's just say for the sake of argument, there's 93,000 people there. And then, however many bought the pay-per-view, it doesn't even, and then, even factoring in all the fans that have watched it since, I think.
Oh, nowhere near. Yeah.
This Andre Hogan match is the most viewed WWF match of all time.
Even using their bullshit numbers, you're still a couple many million short of where this match was. So.
Now, this is interesting because I never knew this, and it's the first thing I'm going to do when we end this show. It says, the Strikeforce Heart Foundation match was still in progress when NBC signed off. In 2014, when WWE Network uploaded this episode in its on-demand section, the ending of the match was added in.
Oh, interesting. So you're probably going to have Vince McMahon signing off then, right? Or I forget who was doing commentary on this, signing off. I think it was Vince. Signing off, and then I wonder what you're going to get afterwards. Are they doing commentary, or does he sign off and just it goes silent for the last little bit? I'm very curious on that.
Let me tell you something. 10-year-old me who didn't get to see the end of that match and I was looking forward to. I mean, now I get to see the end of that match.
Yeah, little Smark Joe was probably like, "Fuck, come on! Like, who's gonna win?"
Yeah, I was
like, "Come on!" And Strikeforce won. That's a big time match for the Strikeforce. So that's.
I went to bed not knowing who the tag team champions were.
Right.
Okay, so in those days, you got to remember, you couldn't look it up on your phone.
No, you're done. You're done. When are you going to find out? When are you going to? I mean, maybe on Superstars this weekend they'll talk about it. Maybe.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
The next time, you would find out the next time Strikeforce or Heart Foundation had a match. You find out who had the titles around their waist. That's when you found out. So it's like, I had no clue because I would never watch this on the network, right? I never did watch. Well, maybe I would. I don't know, but I never did. I didn't know that match is in its complete form.
That's cool.
That's
cool
news to me.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm gonna watch that because I have, I recorded that as a kid and I watched all three of these matches 1,000 times. But which is probably why I never bothered watching it on the network because I'd seen it so many times. I had no idea I could see the finish of that match. That's really cool. So, it was those three matches. Now, Savage. I think in the build to this, there's a Saturday night's main event with Bret Hart versus Randy Savage, and that match rocks.
Yes, yeah, there is.
Yeah,
I forget what number Saturday night's main event. I could probably find it if we. Yeah, I do remember in when the network first started, I was like, I'm gonna watch every one of the Saturday night main events, and most of them are horrible, like really, really bad shows.
Yeah.
But I do remember watching that match and be like, oh my god, yes, like, and it. Savage comes out and Hart comes out, and both these dudes are because these are the guys that I love in this era because most other guys are like, dude, I'm not working really hard. I mean, my bump card and all this sort of stuff, and who cares or whatever. But these two dudes, like meticulously plan this entire match out because it's Randy Savage. Bret's a nutcase. Savage is a nutcase. So they just go out there and have a really, really great match.
Savage does Chris Masters level leg selling in that match, if I recall. So
I think you're right. Yeah, I haven't seen it again since the network launched or whatever in 20. So.
And Is this Savage Honky Tonk Man? Is this the one where Honky Tonk Man shoves down Elizabeth? No, that might be the post match of the Hart match.
Yes,
it's one or the other.
Yeah.
They do an angle where Honky Tonk Man shoves Elizabeth to the ground, and they sell it like he beat up Mother Teresa. Like it's just and the crowd wants him dead. I can't remember if it's this show or the Bret Hart match where Honky Tonk Man does that, and then they hit Savage over the head with the guitar because Elizabeth is trying to stop them from hitting Savage with the guitar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And she says no, and then he shoves him down, and then hits. Yeah, it's awesome. It's really,
and
really
McMahon
cool.
goes mental, and the crowd goes mental, and he put his hands on Elizabeth. Like it's just unbelievable. How intense that is.
Remember when wrestling was good? That was really cool.
Yeah, I mean,
remember when WWF was a really good company? Even though we hate it, here we are just talking about how, as children we're watching every second of it meticulously. So,
yeah, that was February 5th, 1988. So this week, how many years ago? 34 34?
Yeah, 34 years ago. And actually, this it works a little bit as well because last week is the anniversary of the Main Event 2, which a measly 19.9 million people watched.
Total bomb.
Yeah, an absolute bomb. The Mega Powers explode. That was, of course, the You've Got Wandering Eyes. The great.
Against the Twin Towers.
Here. Yeah, against the Twin Towers. You also get Hulk Hogan fucking up live on TV and saying, "Give me the Tizime," because he's a fucking carny. So.
Yeah.
I love him doing. If you've never seen the clip, it's Hogan back there with Miss Elizabeth, and he's like, he's just like sitting there, and he's like, "I'll tell you the Tizime, brother." And then someone just goes like, or like you can't hear what the guy says, and all of a sudden Hogan goes, "No, don't let her die." It's the best. I don't know why she was dying. He's like, "Don't let her die." It's just
give me the Tizime.
You fucking carny. Why are you speaking carny in 1989? What are you doing?
Because he's Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I guess that answers the question.
Give me the Tizime.
If you've never seen the clip of the Main Event 2 unedited, it is.
I don't think I've seen that.
The live. Oh, you've never seen the live broadcast? Oh my god, you will die. It is the best thing ever. It is the best.
Give me the Tizime.
So good.
There's no reason to use carny in that situation.
No. So good.
Oh, it's phenomenal. Oh my god.
The business is the same. This is when the business was the business.
Seriously, it's so much better. It was better then.
Yeah, it was definitely. But so it got an 11.6 rating and only 19.9 million. I was fascinated by this earlier. I don't think there's an anniversary to this. Well, I guess at some point there'll be an anniversary to this. But the Main Event 3.
Yeah.
Ultimate Warrior, Dino Bravo in your main event. But more importantly, Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage facing each other with Buster Douglas as the guest referee, which is a fun, interesting story there, where Tyson was initially supposed to be the special guest referee, but he got his ass knocked out in the Tokyo Dome a couple weeks prior.
Yeah, John Longo still owes me $5 for that because he bet me in 4th grade that Mike Tyson wouldn't lose his title within 5 years, and I took that bet, and he never paid me to this day.
What an asshole.
And I'm going to New Jersey in March, and let me tell you, I'm going to look him up because he owed me $5.
Ding dong.
Yeah. Never
with
paid
interest,
me
with
$5.
interest, man. That's going to be a big return on
I
investment.
just want to just slap me that $5 bill, and I'll be happy. I've been thinking about that since that. Like
so you didn't bet specifically Buster Douglas. You just bet that he would lose to somebody in 5 years.
No, we were talking about boxing at fucking lunch, and Mike Tyson. This is when he was just destroying everybody in 90 seconds. And I don't know how it came up, but he said he's going to hold the title for however many years. And I'm like, I bet he loses it within 5 years. And he said, I'll take that bet. And we bet, and we shook on it and everything and bet $5 on that. And he never paid me because he lost it like 2 years later. It's Buster Douglas.
But I didn't realize that this Main Event 3, 20 million viewers. So actually got a little bit more than the Main Event 2. 20 million viewers still in 1990.
I would have never guessed that. I wouldn't have thought they were still that hot.
I was surprised. Yeah, by 1990, I feel like the bloom was off the rose a little bit. It's February 1990, so I guess because 89 was hot as fuck. I mean, 89 was just an insane year for their business. But by the time the Main Event 4 rolls around, 15 million people.
Cancel them.
Good God. Well, and then they did, because then I think the next one, then I think aired on, then they started moving stuff to USA or whatnot, and yeah, it's kind of a disaster.
Did they not air there was another one? That was the one with
yeah, one of them was on I forget what other ones. There was one I thought that was on USA, but maybe I'm wrong. I think they called it something different than when they did. I don't remember exactly.
There's a Main Event 5 here that says...
Yeah, I guess that one was also on NBC. I think that was the last one on NBC.
I have no recollection of this.
Yeah, I'm looking at this too. This one got 10.6 million. Oh, we're deep in like the Iraqi sympathizer thing, which nobody cared about at this time.
I was definitely watching everything, though, still, and I don't remember this.
I don't think I've ever seen ever, yeah.
Did not hear this program. Broadcast drew 10.6 million viewers. At the time, the worst rating any WWE program had ever done on NBC. This was blamed on the exploitative Sergeant Slaughter. Yeah, I don't remember this.
Yeah, I don't remember this at all.
Well, when I watched the end of that Strike Force Hart Foundation match, I may as well throw this on if it's on the net. I'm sure it's on the network, then maybe it'll. You ever think you didn't watch something and then you put it on? You're like, oh, I saw.
Oh
this.
yeah. It's like 2 minutes in. You're like, oh yeah, right.
Like yeah. So that might be what happens there, but yeah, main event. Legendary. Watched it a billion times. So that and Royal Rumble 88. That was my wheelhouse for recording shit on the VCR, like 88, 87, 88, when I was VCR happy. So the Royal Rumble 88 was just a couple weeks before that, actually, before the main event. And that one, and Duggan won. He eliminated one-man gang at the end. I must have watched that match a billion times. And this main event as well. But, man, I'm hyped to go watch the end of that match.
Yeah, something you've never seen before. You're going to see in 2022. So we're glad I was able to help you with that. And then finally, as we sign off here, Patreon match of the week, flagship.patreon.com, voicesofwrestling.com/Patreon, patreon.com/voicesofwrestling. Relevant this week. We'll talk about it a little bit, but obviously if you want to watch the match, Joe, you have a nice little write-up about it as well on the Patreon. And also our Discord, you can talk about it there as well at voicesofwrestling.com/Discord. The original halftime heat was the match of the week this week. Yeah. Very relevant with the Super Bowl coming up here. Mankind defeating The Rock to win the WWF Championship empty arena match in Tucson. That's obviously the television business very different at this time, but I am stunned when I read that and I know that it did well. It got a 6.6 rating. Almost 11 million people turned off whatever the hell the Super Bowl halftime show was at this time, which I should look up to watch halftime heat. That is wild to me that they would do that.
Yeah, that would have been Super Bowl 33.
That's so Broncos Falcons, right?
Yep. Let's see what the Super Bowl 33 halftime show was. Gloria Estefan sings with Stevie Wonder during the halftime show of Super Bowl 33. So, Gloria Estefan.
So it's Gloria Estefan, Stevie Wonder, and Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. Were these three all at the same time?
And Cher.
Huh.
That's a weird.
That's a lot of. That's four people that I don't quite. Interesting.
Halftime show, a celebration of soul, salsa, and swing.
Well, they did it then, I guess. Okay, if that's what they were going for,
all of those things.
Then they did that. So yeah,
I think I had bad information. I don't see Cher on here anywhere, so forget Cher.
Okay, but, so just Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, Stevie Wonder, and Gloria Estefan as well.
Yeah, but 11 million people turned that shit off, and they watched The Rock and Mankind in a pre-taped match, empty arena. And that was Mankind's second and final, right? WWE. Now he won a third time, maybe.
No, he definitely wanted a third because he won in 1999 at SummerSlam in a very bizarre reason.
He had three.
He won that match. And Triple H beat him the next night, so I don't know why they did that.
Yeah, he had three altogether. But this was win number 2.
Yes.
Because his first win was the Tony Schiavone, that'll put butts in the seats.
Yes.
That was his first win. And this was win number 2. This was during their feud, the I Quit match.
Yeah, right after the Royal Rumble.
So I talk about it in the write-up, but they wrestled 7 singles matches on televised singles matches between November of 98 and February of 99, and the title changed hands in 5 of them, starting with Survivor Series Deadly Game with the tournament final.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then, this match, of course, which was halftime of the Super Bowl, which is the one that we did for match of the week this week. And spoiler alert, you could probably figure out this week's match of the week because it'll be the day after the Super Bowl. So we're going halftime heat too. We're going
there it is. Yeah. So, and that's actually an interesting discussion that I had is like, why did they wait? So this one did 11 million viewers. It was empty arena. You aired it. You taped it after Raw, so it wasn't really any extra requirements. You had everybody there. You just basically waited for everybody to leave the arena and then taped this thing with the wrestlers that were still there, or you could have done it before, but obviously you're going to destroy stuff and do all that, you want to probably have it after or whatever. So all you need is a few camera guys, the arena that you're still in, You air it during the halftime show, which again, what else is airing during if it's not the Puppy Bowl or whatever, there's nothing else on. And you got 11 million people. What the hell was USA like? Why in 2000 were they like, nah, we're going to air, the rerun of whatever the hell. Who nothing else is on TV. Have you ever tried to actually not watch the Super Bowl for 5 seconds?
No, there's nothing on.
There's literally these channels. If they could have dial signals, they would definitely have like the end signals if they could. You know what I mean? Just the bars and just say, go watch CBS. Like, don't even bother.
Lifetime, occasionally Lifetime will try to do something. They'll do like a Lifetime movie marathon and try to counter it by trying to capture female viewership. But even that doesn't work. It's just you're going up against a fucking just a mono. You can't compete. So there's nothing on. But yeah, I'm surprised they never tried it again. And for all these years, I was surprised because when I was researching it and doing the write-up for it this week, in my brain, it was always on MTV, not USA. Why is that?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
Because I think I associate
Heat. Heat was always on MTV.
With MTV.
Yeah.
And I always thought that the halftime Heat was on MTV for some reason. But it was not. It was on USA. And then I
think I kind of, if you would have told me, I probably would have said it was on MTV too. Yeah, I don't know if that's like a Mandela effect thing, but if you would have said, hey, what channel is halftime Heat on? I would definitely say MTV. And if you said USA, I would say, no, you're wrong. It's MTV. So
yeah, I thought it was on MTV.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
Apparently it was on USA. And they did it 20 years later. So
yeah, so spoiler alert, you're going to get that on the Match of the Week this week. It's Aleister Black. Man, listen to these names here.
Yeah.
2019 NXT. Aleister Black, Rick O'Shea, Velveteen Dream defeat the team of Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's only 3 years ago.
Yikes.
That could be 50 years ago. I mean, geez. But, so the first time ever I give away what the Match of the Week will be this week. So I'll do a write-up on that and have that up on Monday. But yeah, 20 years apart. Yeah, it's a good question why they never did it again. It was clearly a success. It's funny hearing McMahon do commentary for it. And he's trying to sell wrestling because I guess they figure they're going to get people to check it out who don't normally watch. And he's like, it's Raw Wrestling Federation action. It's action. It's adventure. It's a soap opera. It's the Roadrunner. The Roadrunner?
The Roadrunner, yes. The very relevant Roadrunner cartoon in 1999, yes.
What does he even mean?
I don't know.
Like the other ones I understand. All right, action? Okay. Yeah. Adventure? Sure. Soap opera? Of course. Everyone describes it as the old soap opera for men, right? And then he named a soap opera. I forget which one he said. I think he said Days of Our Lives. Then he goes, it's the Roadrunner! In the McMahon snarl. And I'm like, the Roadrunner? What? I don't even understand what he's trying to say with that. But, what'd you think of the match? I mean, it's kind of goofy to watch back, right?
It's a weird one. At the time, I remember kind of enjoying it. I don't know if I love it, but I also kind of understand that it's just kind of a sideshow. And they've had so many matches at that time. They had so many different matches, like, and most of them were pretty damn good. Like, because both those guys are really, really good. It's goofy. Like, I don't know if I was a non-wrestling fan that I would have become a wrestling fan by watching it, type of thing. But I don't know. It's pretty good. The Rock is very good in it. He's a comedy figure the whole time.
Yeah,
they're hitting each other with popcorn. He's making quips about ice cream and stuff as he's hitting him or whatever. Puts him in an oven at one point. It's weird. I remember it being just super weird because it's like this empty arena, and then Vince McMahon, at this time the Mr. McMahon evil character, but he does like half and half. He's half Mr. McMahon. But then he's half like, oh, that's unbelievable. Like, what I mean? That like Vince McMahon announcer voice thing.
Because he thinks he's selling it to non-fans.
Right. So he's obviously like, I don't trust anybody else to sell this thing. I'm going to do the commentary for this.
Yeah.
He's still kind of in character, but he's also still 1995
rooting
Raw.
For the Rock because they just did the angle with the Rock in Survivor Series.
Yeah, come on, Rocky. Come on, Rock. Give it to a Rock. So it's really weird.
Yeah. Because they had Kevin Kelly and Shane McMahon at a broadcast table, like, and they kept cutting to them too, but that was weird too because were we supposed to think that they were at a show somewhere?
Oh, it's such a weird thing. I don't know. Yeah, they talked about
during the Super Bowl.
I know they talked about it between the sheets, and it was really weird. They're trying to present the fact that like they just happened to be at a show at that time, and then they're gonna go to this other show where there is no people, and they're gonna show a wrestling match from. It's very weird. It's like, why are you guys going through all this trouble? Just show an empty arena match.
Cut that part out. We don't need Kevin Kelly and Shane McMahon. That was. No one's going to believe that you're at a show during the Super Bowl, first of all. And second of all, why are there television commentators there if it's not on TV? Whatever the show is that you're at. I don't know. It's very confusing. But we've seen a lot of matches like this since then. So I know,
I think it was unique at this time, like a backstage fight, and Mankind.
It's almost like a cinematic match.
It was. It is one of the first cinematic matches. Yeah, Mankind pins him via forklift, and there's like a camera on the pallet as it's coming down on the Rock. It's really bizarre. It's just like,
and you see them arrive, like Mankind, like it's not a taxi, but he pays some jabroni to drive him to the building, and then the Rock arrives in a limousine with Vince, right? So you see them arrive at this building and then go inside, and like you're saying, the camera on the forklift, and it's really very similar to all the cinematic stuff that all these promotions tried during the pandemic. And I think watching it with those eyes, especially if you're a younger fan who has never seen this, it's just going to feel, you're going to feel like you've seen 1,000 matches just like this one, just in the last year or two.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So, you definitely will. Yeah. It will not be unique to somebody with 2022 eyes and who's been following wrestling over the last few years. It won't, I don't think it'll do a great job of selling just how unique it was for a little while at that time. But yeah, it was, I remember it being kind of fun. I remember it being pretty exciting and just different. And I definitely remember watching it during the halftime show. I forget where I was or watching, maybe I was at home, but like I was like, turn this big bad voodoo daddy shit off. Let me watch some wrestling, baby. Let's go. I probably was at home, I think. And I probably just like went upstairs and was like, fuck you, I'm gonna watch the wrestling for the halftime and come back down when the game starts again. If I was at my parents. If I was at my friends, all my friends are wrestling fans. We probably would have just turned it on anyway, regardless. So,
I know we got to wrap it up, but Rock, Mankind, where do you put that in the pantheon of all-time WWF feuds, both in terms of the output and the overall importance? Because it has to be super high.
Oh yeah, I would put it very high, especially if you were watching at that time. I mean, it was the stamp of approval for The Rock as he kind of ascended. It's how The Rock turned heel and joined the and then the Mankind thing was incredible. I mean, one of my favorite moments of watching wrestling ever was him winning that title. On that night where nobody believed he was going to do it. You add in the factor of Tony Schiavone saying, if you don't know. And I was one of those people that was watching Nitro and he's like, if you don't know, like da-da-da. And I'm like, whoa, holy shit. I got to go watch that. Like, I didn't care that it got spoiled to me because it was such a cool moment. So yeah, it was really cool. It was a really, really good feud. It established The Rock. I mean, The Rock is probably not the megastar because people forget, like, he had gained some momentum in 1998. He had started to kind of do some stuff, and he had turned face, and things were going well. But he needed like that next leap up. And like when the Mankind feud was done, it was so good that he had to turn babyface again. He was like a face by April, and then would never obviously only go heel one more time later in his career. But once that feud was done, he was so good in it that it was like, okay, this guy needs to be our top star and needs to be our top babyface.
He was gonna get there, but this got him there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And that was Mankind's role. He did the same thing for Triple H.
Did the same thing for Austin, really. I mean, Austin was already probably established, but yeah, it's if you watch some random WWE documentary or whatever, they'll talk about the Monday Night Wars and they'll show DX arriving and this and all these other bullshit things that had nothing to do. They'll show choppy your PP and that. Well, we won the war because we had or edgy television or whatever. Okay.
It was irreverent,
right? Fuck off. Mankind is one of the most important people to them winning because Austin wins the title. The first feud he's in is with Mr. McMahon and Dude Love, Mick Foley, Mankind, whatever. Yeah. Obviously, you have the Hell in a Cell match, Mankind, Undertaker, iconic moment from that time period. The Rock wins the title. First feud he's in there with his Mankind. Does that for 4 months, basically, with Mankind until he's ready for Austin again. And then Triple H, an absolute dud of a title. I mean, just the title reign dying on the vine until he links up with Cactus Jack and Mick Foley, and then they do that for like 3 months, and it completely gets Triple H ready for the rest of the year as well. So, yeah, he's one of the most unquestioned key role players of the Monday Night War that does not get his due whatsoever. Just absolutely does not.
No, because he only won the title 3 times and he held it like for days.
Oh yeah, the first reign I think was 20 days. The next reign was like 25 or something like that. And the last one, like I said, was 1 day. Like he went in at SummerSlam and the next day he's losing it to Triple H. So
yeah, and because that wasn't his role. This is why I always say about a lot of modern wrestlers, they should never win the world title, or a world title reign wouldn't fit, or if they do win a world title, they should lose it quickly. Because some guys just have that energy. It wouldn't have made sense to put the world title on Mankind and let him run with it for 8 months. That wouldn't make sense. Now, you want to give him a moment? That's fine. But then beating him quickly, that's the right move. And I've talked about that with a lot of modern wrestlers, and people are like, that doesn't, but that's just, sometimes there's certain baby faces who have that kind of energy. That's why Dusty Rhodes never had an extended NWA World Title run. It's like you want to see Dusty win it, right? But I don't know if you necessarily want to see Dusty hold that title for 3 years. Okay, Dusty's better in that chase role, and then you get the big moment, and then there's a come down from that. That's why I thought Kofi should have lost the next day. They shouldn't even have had him hold it until they got to Fox. Like Kofi was done the moment he won it, And what happened bared that out. He wasn't over as champion. He has that same kind of energy too. That Mankind, Dusty Rhodes. I think Darby Allin and Evolve had that same kind of energy. Where eventually I think Darby should have won the Evolve title, but I don't think he should have had an extended reign. I mean, it just didn't fit who he is. These guys are underdogs. That's their charm. That's why they're over.
Yeah.
Underdogs don't have long sustained title reigns. That doesn't fit. So, anyway, that was Mankind for sure. I mean, you nailed it with his role in the company at that time. And I really do think the Mankind Rock feud, that's got to be top 5. I mean, in terms of important feuds in the company. I mean, drawing money is a different thing, and that drew money too. I mean, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
You could factor that in. But yeah, that's a Pantheon WWF feud, Rock versus Mankind.
Oh, great stuff. Yeah. And a lot of those matches are good. I mean, the Royal Rumble match is pretty horrific to watch these days. Like, it is that's a real tough watch, that one. But a lot of the other stuff the stuff in between there, a lot of it is really good. The Survivor Series match is good. St. Valentine's Day Massacre is really good. Halftime Heat is unique and different. The Royal Rumble, if you can deal with a guy getting, battered with a fucking chair by The Rock, like, there's that's good. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in that feud. So, yeah, important role there. But, all right, we did it. 3 hours in the can. We are done here on the flagship. So, yeah, that's it. MyBookie, obviously mybookie.ag, promo code, what did I say there? Voices. Yeah, promo code Voices. Get in on that Super Bowl stuff. Double your first deposit. Also Manscaped, Flagship 20, HelloFresh, VOW16, HelloFresh.com/VOW16, promo code VOW16, all that stuff. Patreon.com/Voice of Wrestling, Flagship Patreon for all of our stuff. $5 tier, $10 tier for all the extra content as well. And then voicesofwrestling.com. And our Discord as well, voicesofwrestling.com/Discord if you want to join the conversation. So for Joe Lanza, I'm Rich Creech. We'll talk to you next time on the Flagship Podcast. Take care.